say, go on, Super Chopper, go on, son. He's got the inquest to want, but let's destroy him. 5 years. 5 years they've been doing parties about they brought me down. Well, guess what? I'm still friggin' here. And do you know why? Because I haven't done anything wrong. You don't think I know you called the police on me for being SO and all that for 5 years? You don't think that they know? I've spoken to them. I've been in my house 10 times. I've told them what you're doing. You all fear me. The return of the great armchair detective. Oh, Alan Vinnicombe, I'm warning Alan, the big bad shadow baron, now shadow bound to the rumble. Do you think I'd crumble? Do you think I'd lay down and die? Stick that in your pipe and stick the pipe in your eye. I'm back. I'm Alan back again with these beats. All I'm saying is Kay needs questioning by police. That's all I said. I'm just an old man, getting stalkers in my walls, hams, tramadol's and dies a pound, man. I'm Big Bad Alan and you need me. I'm Big Bad Alan and I want you to feed me cheesy chips while I lick my lips. Come on, Super Chopper, go on, son. Let's destroy Alan. That bad man is done. I haven't done anything wrong. So what's going on? Can anybody hear me? When I get back on the internet, they will all fear me. The return of the great armchair detective, Alan Vinnicombe. All in Alan, the big bad shadow baron, now shadow banned to the rumble. Do you think I'd crumble? Do you think I'd lay down and die? Stick that in your pipe, stick the pipe in your eye. I'm back, and I'm Alan back again with these beats. All I'm saying is Kay needs questioning by police. That's all I said. I'm just an old man, gang stalkers in my walls, hams, tramadol's and guys a pan man. I'm Big Bad Alan and you need me. I'm Big Bad Alan and I want you to feed me cheese and chips while I lick my lips. You were giving him tippies, you were giving the chuffer tips. I must insist you desist and resist your urges. Give him the Super Chuffer time, but he streams for ages. I can't keep up with the man, he's turning pages while I'm struggling to read. I mean, he's so vital and I'm nearly deceased. I'm a beast, I'm the Bristol pusher. It makes me feel alive to watch another suffer. I'm a nutter. I got banned off YouTube because of the homophobic slurs. I'm on TikTok with the little girls dancing. Angry Alan in his pants watching streams with the money from Nancy. All I'm saying is that Nickel Kessinger needs kissies. Angry Alan getting eggy when the chuffer gets the tippies. Whoosh, and then whoosh. It's raining again. I couldn't be happier. Damn that Super Chuffer.
1, 2, check 2.
Come on, Super Chuffer. Come on, son.
That's me.
Let's destroy Alan.
I'm the Super Chuffer. 1, 2, check 2. That's me. I'm the Super Chuffer. 1, 2, check 2. How you doing? Are you good? Are you being good? It's time for Battery Exhausted. It's time for me. Well, you know how it goes. Hi, I'm Scott. I'm Super Chuffer. It's midnight. It's always midnight. This is your right ear and your left ear. This is Battery Exhausted, my channel. That's Alan. He's a bad man. And tonight we're going to be discussing his latest scam. His latest scam, to put it simply, is we get ChatGPT, the artificial intelligence on the internet. Look, ChatGPT. We get ChatGPT, the artificial intelligence on the internet, right? And we'll get it to write a story. Can you please write me a story of 200 words about Alan, who is a bad man? Be very specific about how he... We'll get to that. We'll get your suggestions in a minute. But mine is a bad man. Let's just ask for that. Alan was the kind of man who thrived on the misery of others. In the small town where he lived, everyone knew his name, but for not good reasons. Alan was a landlord. He's got him as a landlord who owned several rundown properties and never hesitated to exploit his tenants. He charged exorbitant rates for apartments that were barely livable. Mould on the walls, leaking roofs and broken appliances were the norm. While tenants complained, Alan would smirk and threaten eviction, knowing that most had nowhere to go. But Alan's cruelty wasn't limited to his business dealings. He delighted in causing harm. Sorry, it looks like it says ham though. Is it harm? Wherever he could. He would spread malicious rumours about people just to see them squirm. Once he slashed the tyres of a neighbour's car simply because they parked in front of his house. When confronted, he lied without hesitation, making the neighbour appear paranoid. Alan also witnessed the sense of pleasure in hurting animals. He would set out traps for cats. Okay, I'm not going to read the rest. Welcome to the world of the internet. Alan's discovered it, the world of the internet, and he doesn't quite understand it like everyone else. He doesn't understand that everyone else understands it. So the deal is, he gets the story done, right? Get that story done. This is a real quick overview if you don't want to watch hours of me talking about it. Well, his episode is shorter tonight. We've got a patron, we've got a couple of his rumbles, and his episode is shorter tonight. Maybe might run a little bit short. So what we've got here is we've got Angry Alan and his latest scam. So he's going to, and get this, I can sum it up really quickly. He's going to get the artificial intelligence on the internet to write a story and then charge you money to hear it. Charge you money to send it you via email. But you can get artificial intelligence on the internet for free and just do it yourself for free. It's the most ludicrous, most like this. I've called my thumbnail. I was trying to think, what am I going to put in the thumbnail? What are we going to say as the title? You know, how am I going to put the thumbnail together? I was thinking, how are we going to do this? This man is an idiot. This man is an idiot. Bear in mind, he also did Sing with Kids on Smule. Singing with Kids on Smule is not just like, you can twist it and make him look bad. Singing with Kids on Smule, if you walked in on your partner and they were on Smule singing with some kids on the live stream on the Smule, if they had 3 different Asian kids on their live stream thing and they were singing with them on the Smule, yeah, on your part, you're going to think that's bad. Don't tell me that's something that's twisted. But today we're going to treat him as a buffoon. And this is the thing about buffoons. Boris Johnson managed to pull this. You'd think that they're just buffoons, they're just funny idiots, but they can be quite sinister. So there's a double-edged sword here, isn't it? You know, it's quite funny tonight. It's going to be ludicrous, bananas, hilarious, pyjamas. We'll write our own story. So get your thinking caps on. We will write our own story to rival Alan's. I will ask for your ideas and we'll incorporate them into a story, and I won't charge you to go to Patreon and listen to it, and I'll send it to everyone via email for free. Yeah. Big ups in chat, big ups Dry Spell, Steve, Ordbod, big ups Jersey Gal, big ups Simon Standing, big ups Kevin, big ups AF. Tonight I started a little late, and of course there is some big dramatic waves going on in Gore World, in Phil World. I'm sticking to my lane. I couldn't let this go by, and it happened over the weekend, and then like, you know, when do I do it? And now's the right time. Now's the right time. So we're going to be doing Alan tonight. Good old Alan. Well, bad Alan, according to ChatGPT. A man without remorse, enjoying every moment of the pain he inflicted on others. In a town full of good people, Alan was a black stain, a person no one would mourn. And that's true, because it comes off the internet there. Well, no, it's not. It's libelous and slanderous. It's ChatGPT did it, though, so maybe, you know, ChatGPT is responsible. I don't know. So this is Alan's TikTok. And Alan's TikTok has not been getting the big views anymore. That's down the toilet now. It's either that true crime gets him big views and football gets him big views and other stuff, or it was that he's buying, whatever it is.
It's raining again. I couldn't be happier.
Big ups, Claire. Thank you.
This is a nice surprise. Glad to catch you live.
It's nice to see you.
Super Chuffer owes 3 hugs.
Thank you very much for the tippy. Thank you very much, Claire. Thank you. I really appreciate it. I do. Every little helps. It really does help me to push forward in this endeavour and others. So thank you very much. Thank you. That's the Tippy's page. That's the link. It comes up on the screen. It dances the legs, and you can have your say, so to speak, on the screen. So it's a system. This is Anna's TikTok. He's got nothing going on there anymore. Like, that's dead. Deader than the... Don't start me. His TikTok's dead. Deader than his cold black heart. Right? He's also been doing... on his Rumble. He posted here. So... Hang on, just my background music's just going a bit Christmassy. I don't. Christmassy's not really the vibe I'm looking for. So actually, I don't like this one at all. Let's get rid of this one. Let's pick up a different relax music for me. For this, we need something a little bit more Oh, there goes the cat now. Brilliant. Always happens as soon as I start a stream. We need something a little bit more like detective-y, really, don't we? But I don't know if there's like a detective, relaxing game music detective. Like maybe if I put that, like video game for solving mystery, video game music for solving mysteries. Work, study, relax. Favourite video game music for solving mysteries like a detective. So this I'm using from, and it's video game music, so like, you know, but it's from a channel called Mario Power Tunes, and they've done exactly what I've asked them to. So welcome to the internet where you can get everything you want. It's a funny old world, isn't it? But if you need some relaxing background music to solve crimes with from video games, here it is. So I'm just going to quickly let the cat in. Oosh, don't know why she meows at me, she can get in the bloody window. Thank you very much, Suzanne, for the £5 super chat. That unlocks the buttons. The super chat unlocks the buttons. I should have done buttons for the last tippy, but it did its own dancing. That unlocks the buttons. We've got new buttons.
Bang!
Do's and don'ts.
Well, these are the latest buttons.
Fact.
I never went without a real drink in all my time in the Rovers.
Bang!
I got the... It's just loud.
Bang!
I quite enjoy those buttons.
I've just had a lovely cup of tea and a Bakewell tart.
So, we will watch a couple of the new TikToks. We will watch a couple of the new Rumbles, and then we will watch the Patreon, where he tells us all how to get in on the Patreon and do the stories, and we'll find out what's going on. I'm not sure where to start with this. I'm not probably going to jump on Sticks and Stones May Bake My Bones, Words Can Get You Locked Up in the UK now. I'm probably just going to leave his racist tirades and all that for tonight. We're having a bit of fun. But we will probably look at this on Twitch. I stream on Twitch as well. So if you find my Twitch channel, then I'll probably be on after this with some of the stranger side. There's another one of our nutters that's on a show tonight. I'll probably be looking at the stranger, darker side of the weirdness on Twitch afterwards, really. This is going to be a bit of fun first. Which is why I'm not sure if I should watch this video entitled Queers for Palestine, Think Again They Don't Want You. This video called Queers for Palestine, Think Again They Don't Want You. That seems a little bit provocative. Doesn't it? Queers for Palestine, Think Again They Don't Want You. That seems like quite a provocative political one, so I'll probably just steer clear of that for now. I just want to have a bit of fun. So let's go with the TikToks. I mean, I'm assuming the TikToks are shorter. The Rumble advert is slightly longer. And then the show is like, you know, where it's at, isn't it? So he doesn't look happy. Start us off with the TikTok then. Come on, Alan.
Welcome. My name's Alan. I am the armchair detective.
That's you.
I write short stories.
Well,
mainly about crime.
No. No, you don't. This is 15 minutes. It's the same as the Rumble one. I think I'll watch the Rumble one for this then. No, you don't. You don't write short stories mainly about crime. That's not something you're known for. What's this other TikTok?
On true crime story, devised with my interactive fans right here on TikTok. Episode 1. She came through the door. He's needed because there's so much real crime in our lives at the moment that we need to get away from true crime. So here it is on true crime. But you're got so much crime on the news and the telly that you want to escape from it. Well, I'm giving you the chance. I'm a writer, sort of.
Sort of.
Write stories. I've had books published and stuff, and I
oh
write
my
about...
god! Trying to convince the people of TikTok that he's a writer, an author, they would call it if you were, and he's sort of written stories and had books. But oh my god!
Things, football, crime, all sorts of things. So, but I thought, right, what can I do that's interactive? So my plan is this. After I finish this, I'm going to my Patreon channel where you can interact more with me, and I'll put you more in the story. So this is the warm-up. This
is the warm-up. So I'm going to repeat myself a little bit these days, you know, on this one, because he's repeating himself on all these TikToks and videos. But the Patreon we will watch. But like, what he's saying is, you can't get it here. The content is on Patreon. You have to go to Patreon and sign up. And that's just a feature of what he's always been doing, isn't it? Like, Patreon, like, it's kind of dead now, like, really. There's some people made a big success of it. Some people coming in new might start it off. But, like, you know, I used to have a Patreon for my ASMR. Like, revised it a little bit, but, you know, we've talked about it on the stream before about how I closed it down and, like, you know, just sort of encourage people to move away from it. Maybe if some people still prefer it, that's fine. But, like, you know, the way Alan does it is egregious grifting. There's different ways to offer your services on the internet. There's different ways services. There's different ways to, you know, to receive support. And this one, Alan's trying to create a lever. So he's trying to create a mechanism where people come to his TikTok and they go to his Patreon and give him all the money for the Patreon. Yeah, sign up to the Patreon. That's the point. And what he doesn't understand is that that's not what TikTok is about. Like, I'm even doing the wrong thing tonight, telling you I've got a Twitch. You know when you go on YouTube and it says, do you want to leave YouTube and go over to Twitch? I don't think that probably helps me. You know, if YouTube see a lot of my audience leaving, going over to Twitch, they'll probably say, oh, this isn't someone that we want to promote. You know, I'm lucky that I've got the two platforms where we do slightly different streams and stuff. But with Alan, what strikes me here is that he's trying to create a lever, the grift, where it's going to push people into TikTok. From TikTok to Patreon. So no one wanted to go from TikTok to Rumble. That was dead. No one wanted to do that. But they're going to want to go from TikTok to Patreon through a paywall to listen to Alan tell them stories, because they're tired of true crime. They've got so much free true crime on the internet, and that's what they enjoy watching and they're liking. But they're tired of that, so they want some fake crime.
Story. To give you an idea what I do, like Private Eye from the 50s. This is a short story I wrote, so you get an idea what we're going to be doing. The case Wotan in August afternoon in 1953. And the fans in my office were working overtime to push the cigarette smoke around the room, because we all smoked in those days, right?
Right. TikTok's having a bit of a stall out, which is good because I don't want to watch any more of this. I might come back to this. This seems to be like later than his other one. I'm trying to get in the right order because this is 2 days ago. That was a day ago. So we're going to jump back to 2 days ago. It's a because he's got two different stories that he tells. Sorry, Queers for Palestine's taking up the main frame there. Sorry. We're going to jump back here, but it does strike me that what am I trying to say? Lost my train of thought there for a second. Yeah, sorry. What I just realised is he's going to read his own story off ChatGPT and then glamorise it, and like snazz it up. So that's going to be weird and fun. Right, let's see here. Let's see here. On Wumble. So on Rumble, what we've got is this says 9:20 in the morning. Google.com, something else, vmaltdorf.de. He searched up this German. Somehow, Alan, unlike most people, he finds pictures from like German pictures. Like he had Indian Hindi before when he was like stealing his content from it. So he's found this picture from a German magazine. It says "True Detective: My Escape from a Serial Killer," and it's actually True Police Cases, October 1969 at Wolfgang's, 55% off. Visit, and he started with that. Oh no. We're now moving over to, this says at the top Wikipedia, but it's a picture of Alan from his TikTok talking. So it's Alan's TikTok live clipped into a video for his Rumble.
Clearwater, any town in the USA.
Right.
Crime. I'm here. Welcome. My name's Alan. I am the armchair detective. I write short stories, mainly about crime.
No, you don't.
I also do mysteries, ghost stories, horror stories, but mostly crime. I'm here to introduce my new format, which will be putting you in the story.
Right, so putting you in the story. This is going to sell it to you. This is, like, the thing is, this is a very, very dim man. Right, big ups Blank Faces, how you doing? This is a very, very dim man. This is a very, you know, mentally quite down there, like, it's a bit of a sad state of affairs. He's grifting, he's horrible, he's a narcissist. Somehow he thinks that you're going to be willing to pay for this. And he's come up with this. So this is the level of the intellect of the man.
All I need is you to partake, and then I need a bit of information about you.
Personal information.
and I will interact you, weave you in.
Interact you into the story. That's not what interaction is, Alan. Interaction is what I'm doing now with the chat. Look, watch. Big ups Lisa. He looks like John Wedger there. I don't know if that's worse for Alan or Wedger. Bit of both. Big up Simon Standing. New format after his football format didn't work. Exactly, but his football format worked better than Match of the Day. It had more views on TikTok than Match of the Day. So, you know, he was doing well there. I thought, to be honest. But he didn't pay through to any views on his Rumble or TikTok, and buying fake views doesn't get you anything. So, it doesn't actually work. So, see, I'm interacting now with you. That's interaction, Alan. You can do that all the time. You always do it with all of your audience constantly. Like at the start of every episode, you interact with them because you refuse to get started until they turn up. So
into the story.
Well, what it could be is Alan could push him in the canal, and Wedger could be waiting in the canal to. Anyway, look.
I will tell you the story live on TikTok, and then after I've done the story, we move to Patreon, where you can come on the screen and we can fill out the story a bit more.
So you give me your details. I will put you in a story. It's going to happen instantly on the internet because ChatGPT. You can do it yourself. I will read the story out on TikTok. Then, don't go yet. Wait. I'm going to need you to come and give me the monies. You're going to need to come into Patreon. Because there, we can get you on the screen. Providing you've got nice hair. And then we can fill out the story even further. It's pretty interactive stuff. Now, Alan hasn't seen the flaw in his business plan yet, right? Alan is one of these... Alan is so fucking thick, to be honest. Let's just call it what it is. Let's just call it what it is. Alan is really thick. Like, let's say this goes really well. Let's say you get 200 people on TikTok, and like 10% of them want to have a story done. That'd be like 20 people. So how are you going to do 20 stories? What, one a night all month? And that's going to earn you how much money? And then what about next month? Because they're going to want to continue every month to have a story made because they're paying monthly for their TikTok story, yeah? So you've got like maybe 30 people you can fit in that room before you can't do any more of this. Yeah, the ChatGPT will do it for free. It will just print it out for you. But you have to read it, you said. And you can't read like 30 stories a month. Like, how much are they going to pay on TikTok, on Patreon to be part of this? I assume it's a reasonably low number. Let's say it's anywhere underneath £10. Let's say it's £10. You've got 30 people at £10 a head. 20 people at £10 a head. That's £200. Yeah? So it's not going to work. Like, you're going to be working for £200 a month to produce and record brand new, okay, backed by artificial intelligence it is, yeah, so you're not going to do much there, but like brand new, original, creative, different stories, and read them out. Like, if the sky's the limit on this, like, you know, where can it go to the tops, is that you're completely limited by your ability to read things out on the internet in time scale and the number of people you're asking. Like, if you get 100 people sign up for this, you simply can't do it. What are you going to do? Stop reading them, just give them the printout. Maybe that. So you have to change what you're... So really, your business... Like, it's like if you went into the Dragon's Den with this, and they'd say, well, how much money do you think you can possibly make? Like, and the real truth is, it doesn't matter, does it? Alan's just willing to get 2 people to do this. He's probably looking for 2 of his own current audience. It would be Nosy Nana and Riff Raff. If Nosy Nana and Riff Raff go for this, there's another 20 quid. Like... But if you're in the Dragon's Den and you're asking me to invest in this as a business, I'm out. How do you think this is going to work?
And then you will get sent the story.
You'll get sent the story because we can email it from ChatGPT. Look, I can just copy and paste it like that, look. Copy and paste. So that's the work. At Alan's end, what he's going to do is you're going to give him information in the chat. He's going to copy and paste it into ChatGPT, yeah, into the artificial intelligence. Then it's going to print out the story. Then he's going to copy and paste that back into the chat for you. Where's the monies?
New format, which will be putting you in the story. All I need is you to partake, and then I need a bit of information about you, and I will interact you, weave you into the story, and I will tell you the story live on TikTok. And then after I've done the story, we move to Patreon, where you can come on the screen and we can fill out the story a bit more. And then you will get sent the story by me by email. So you be part of the story. We'll write it, I'll put you in it. Once we've got the basic format here, we move it to Patreon, where I make it a longer story and I send it to you on email. So you need to join Patreon if you want to be in a true crime short story. Right, you get it? So I'm going to write...
I think I do get it, but the way you've explained it seems quite long-winded. We're going to go over it a few times tonight, obviously.
Short stories about crime, horror, things like that, mysteries. I need a bit of information about you, your name, your age, what you're interested in, and I will weave you into the story.
Big ups, Lisa Marie. Should we put you in a story later?
I'll show you how in a minute. But
I will. I'll put all you chuffers in a story later if you want.
Basically, it's you taking part. So on here, on TikTok, to start with.
To start with. Like the painful way he tries to get through this. So basically, it's you taking part on here on TikTok to start with, and like this is his pitch. This is Alan's pitch, the big salesman. This is the thing. Out of all things Alan thinks he's got, right? Alan thinks he can sell snow to the Eskimos, to coin a to copy a tired cliche. Nothing against Eskimos. Fucking Eskimos coming around here taking our igloos. Alan thinks he's got this gift of the gab and that this is his forte, that he doesn't, he's all mouth and no trousers. He don't even have to bother about the trousers, don't even think about the trousers, just get the mouth going. And then once you've sold it, once the bag's switched hands, once you've had the 20 quid, you're gone. You know, and like that's Alan's gift of the gab is what he thinks he's got. And he can pull the scams because he's the good front man. But he's not, is he? He's terrible. Like, the way he's pitching this.
I need a bit of information about you.
I need a bit of information about you, so don't worry. I'm just going to be prying slightly into your private personal life, slightly. That could come back later.
A longer story, and I send it to you on email. So you need to join Patreon if you want to be in a true crime short story. Right, you get it? So...
good question, Cornflower. How many idiots do you think will fall for his BS? I think 2. Nosy Nana and Riff Raff.
I'm going to write short stories about crime, horror, things like that, mysteries. I need a bit of information about you, your name, your age, what you're interested in, and I will weave you into the story. I'll show you how in a minute. But basically, it's you taking part. So on here, on TikTok, to start with. So I've done a story here to show you how good I am at writing stories. Big Ed.
Big Ed, you didn't write it. It's artificial intelligence.
Bearing in mind that you could be the characters in the plot. You could be the characters in the plot, all right?
So just, you could take this story and just read out your name. Like, I could take any story. Like, Rod, in Crime and Punishment, the lead character is called Rodion Raskolnikov-Romanovich. But I could just read it out and I could say Scott. Every time I see Rodion Raskolnikov-Romanovich, I could just say Scott. Like... Doody. I'm just looking for a bit where it actually says his name, so I can say it. Okay, this has got somebody's name. Look, the young man snatched off his hat and began to examine it. It was a high-crowned hat that had been originally bought at Alan's, but had become worn and rusty. It was covered with dents and stains, slit and short of a brim, a frightful object in short, yet its owner, far from feeling his vanity wounded, was suffering rather from anxiety than humiliation. I suspected this, he muttered uneasily. I foresaw it. That's the worst of it. Some wretched trifle like this might spoil it all. Yes, this hat's certainly too remarkable. It looks so ridiculous. I must get a cap to suit my rags. Any old thing would be better than this horror. Hats like these are not worn. This one would be noticeable, a verst of it. It would be remembered. People would think of it again some time after, and it would furnish a clue. I must attract as little attention as possible just now. Trifles become important. Everything hinges on them. See there, I changed the name from Zimmerman to Alan, and so like Alan is now in Crime and Punishment. So you don't need the computer for that. You don't need Alan either. You can just do it with your own brain.
So, for instance, new direction, interactive crime. You can be in my story. I'm fed up bringing bad news of murders and stuff to you. I want to give you a bit of entertainment from now on.
Right.
So no more.
Definitely getting that tonight.
No more real stories. This is untrue crime.
This is a new genre that Alan's invented called untrue crime. Right? No more real stories. He's taken it to a new level. Right? Untrue crime. Have a little think. Have a little think. Can anyone tell me what's the flaw in this plan? Can anyone tell me what's going on here? What you might say in Dragon's Den? He's got above him here. He's got True Detective on the thing. Look, stolen this picture of an old book from the old neo-noir days, the old film noir days, well, the old Raymond Chandler days, the old noir, you know, detective novel days. Yeah, stolen that. But True Detective he is not. He's not a detective. He's not an author. He's not true. He's none of these things. But can you spot the flaw in this, the fallacy in untrue crime as a new genre? Right? Untrue crime as a new genre. It might be that it already exists. It's called crime fiction. You know, like books. Crime fiction is already quite the genre. It's quite popular. There's fucking loads of these books.
Brett sent tippies. Super Chuffer owes 3 hugs.
Thank you very much, Brett. Thank you. You didn't send a message, so I just checked to see if there's a message attached to that, because sometimes the more offensive messages get held behind, like with the rude words. But no, just a tip. Thank you, Brett. Thank you for the tippy. Thank you, I appreciate it. You got to see the nice dancing heels as well. There's an example of some books off the internet. You've heard of books. You remember crime books. Alan certainly does. He's got a picture of one behind him. Alan, the genre exists. You're talking about crime fiction, and there are hundreds of really good books out there, and you're not going to make a dent in this market by changing people's names with artificial intelligence and getting artificial intelligence to write the stories for you, because artificial intelligence isn't the best author in the world. It gives you a very basic, very sort of like, you know, computer generated sort of generic feel. Like, I don't suppose Alan's ever read a book, so he wouldn't know the difference, but like, where are we going? What are we doing? We're not reinventing true crime. We're not reinventing crime fiction. We are inventing a new genre, untrue crime.
So I've done a story here to show you how good I am at writing stories, big head, bearing in mind that you could be the characters in the plot. You could be the characters in the plot, all right? So, for instance, new direction, interactive crime. You can be in my story. I'm fed up bringing bad news of murders and stuff to you. I want to give you a bit of entertainment from.
Is there anyone that believes that Alan could write a story in minutes on a stream of any description?
No one. So no more real stories. This is untrue crime, right? It's made up. No animal was hurt in the making of this story. No one was beaten up. It's like just fiction. Untrue crime.
So there's 2 examples of true crimes that Alan had in his mind there at the top of his mind: hurting animals and beating people up. But they're not going to feature as realities in his stories. What?
I'm calling it, right? I've invented that myself. My name's Alan.
You invented untrue crime. Let's repeat that.
In the plot, all right? So, for instance, new direction, interactive crime. You can be in my story. I'm fed up bringing bad news of murders and stuff to you. I want to give you a bit of entertainment from now on. So no more real stories. This is untrue crime, right? It's made up. No animal was hurt in the making of this story. No one was beaten up. It's like just fiction. Untrue crime, I'm calling it, right? I've invented that myself. My name's Alan Vinnicombe. I am the armchair detective.
Untrue crime. I've invented that myself. Thank you, Deborah, for the £2 super chat. Big ups you. Big ups, Debs. We did a really cool card reading on Peter Folding. Actually, I should shout this out. We did a really cool card reading on Peter Folding, and I'm probably going to upload it as a video. Well, it's uploaded already. I'll probably make it live at the end of this stream, so I can bin you all off into a video that you can watch all night. But it was turned out to be a bit of fun. We did it for fun, for Kelly. Big ups, Kelly Blankfaces. Peter Folding and the Sonar, fun card read fun tarot read, you know, just a bit of fun. And then it actually started turning out some really interesting concepts, so we just went with it. So that's coming up after this. We'll probably make the thumbnail on the stream with AI, like, and then drop it after this episode. Big ups, Deborah. Thank you for the £2 super chat.
You are going to be in the stories. I'll show you how. For instance, this is my first one, right?
Right.
So every night, when I do one, we do it on here, then you join me on Patreon.
On Patreon. And that's where this, I've heard before, because obviously you've heard this before, because at the end of yesterday's, the last episode we did with Alan on it, it was like, oh, he's done this thing on his Patreon, and it's stupid, and it's funny, and he's going to be, like, in the story, new direction, interactive crime, you can be in AD stories. And we read the fucking story already. You made me read it, you chuffers. Most of it. I didn't read all of it. I read most of it. Riff Raff says, well done. Ephraim Shimoni says, well done, I'm so happy to participate in this. I assume that's a fake account that Alan runs to make himself look good. Like, we've already read this. It's awful. And it even says that I wrote with the help of AI. You can be part of the story live. To start you off, here's one I wrote with the help of AI. And then he proceeds to copy paste this. You know he didn't write any of this because he can't write. Like, he can't write a sentence. Like, there's his sentences at the top here. So let's apostrophe S, please. Meet in Patreon. Should have a capital letter there. You should know that. I mean, you're on the fucking website. And solve fictional crimes. Space, comma, space. Should just be a full stop. Workshop. You can be part of the story live. What? To start you off, here's one I wrote with the help of AI. Sorry, to start you off here, apostrophe S, I should say, one I wrote, comma, space, with the help of AI, full stop, maybe. You could be part of the cast, space, dot, dot, dot. To start you off, here's one I have written. Here is a story I have written. Like, it just, like, he doesn't know how to do the basics of writing things. So how are we intending to believe that with the help of AI... Obviously, it's all AI, isn't it, Alan? Like, you're not writing any of this. And you've already posted it on your Patreon. So, like, why are people going to pay to sign up to be part of that?
Where you would be in the story. If you join Patreon, I'll send you a free copy of the story for you to keep forever. Look like a 1950s short story, right? That's what I'm doing it on. I love the 1950s. So, let's start with this one. By the Armchair Detective. Story 1. Chapter 1. Murder in the Night. In the sleepy town of Clearwater, any town in the USA, nothing much ever happened. The locals were used to their quiet routines. Watching telly, going to the movies, going to a cafe for a drink. Quiet town.
So, it says... In the sleepy town of Clearwater, nothing much ever happened. The locals were used to their quiet routines, punctuated only by the occasional community event or rowdy night at O'Malley's pub. But Alan can't read it properly, I'm guessing, so he just goes off course and starts making it up. And this is a really good example. Now, like, I'm saying this is a serious thing. I don't think Alan has dyslexia. I think Alan didn't complete school properly and avoided getting a proper education, and I think it might even mean that he can't read and write properly. But I don't think he has actual dyslexia. Actual dyslexia is a real medical diagnosis that you can have. I've got a relative who has actual dyslexia, and they, you know, talked to me about it. There were times in their school where they, before they knew they had it, like when they hadn't been diagnosed at school, before they knew they had it, when they would be asked to read something, and because they don't know what it means and what it says, they would just sort of try, you know, like, you're on the spot, you're in public, so say words, have a guess, sort of thing. And like, Alan has, I assume, spent his whole life being a bit like this, so he's giving you a reading here that doesn't match the actual artificial intelligence reading, and he's going to say, well, that's because he's spinning it a bit, putting his own spin on it. But really, I think he's having trouble with this sentence. The locals were used to their quiet routines. He got that. Punctuated by the occasional community event or rowdy night at O'Malley's pub. I think punctuated only by the occasional community event. I think that was too much for him. And I think he just thought, I'm not reading that. I'm just going to start making stuff up. And the reason that's so important is because, again, Alan, gift of the gab, can just talk and talk, just make stuff up on the spot, get himself out of trouble, talky talk. But all mouth, no trousers, you get caught out that way, especially if you're going to just chat and chat on the internet, because it's all going to be there. People, well, his stuff's gone now, banned off YouTube. But, like, this is his approach to the true crime stuff that's so important. This is why it's so interesting. To Alan, you know, reading stuff out on the internet off websites, chat GPT, stuff he's made up, stuff he's making up in his mind, fantasy world, that overlaps with his true crime content so often. That's why he's getting sued for defamation, isn't it? Like, he's happy to just start point with something on the internet and then go off on a wild tangent and make some stuff up and just, you know, out of his head start spinning and like end up somewhere strange. Like, it's not evidence-based, and it's also easy to abstract from something that's quite black and white in front of you and start going places. He calls it his hypotheses, doesn't he? But it's interesting, you could see it in action here, like live in action. He didn't write these words originally, so he doesn't even know what they say. This is probably the first time he's read the bloody thing, and he's having trouble getting through it. So instead of pausing, slowing down and saying, okay, hang on just a second, obviously Alan should at this point be disclosing his diagnosis of, well, he doesn't have a diagnosis of dyslexia, but he should be talking about that because he's going to be having trouble reading this stuff, yeah? He should just pause and say, hang on, this word punctuated, you know, okay, punctuated by, you know, he should slow down. He should have probably read it several times before so he knows what he's about to read before he goes ahead and does this. But it's just like so obvious and proof, isn't it? It's like proof of something so deep in Alan's psyche and soul, is that when he comes up against a little problem like this, instead of admitting the truth that he doesn't know and he can't and he's not very good, he will lie and pretend instead.
Any town of Clearwater, any town in the USA, nothing much ever happened. The locals were used to their quiet routines, watching telly, going to the movies, going to a cafe for a drink.
He doesn't say that.
Quiet town, population 1,236, punctuated by the occasional community event or rowdy night at O'Malley's, the local pub, Irish bar. But that all changed.
So he got there, he was able to get there with the punctuated, but he took a pause in the middle to go on a little diversion tangent. I think he saw punctuated, he thought, like, he just started talking for a bit until he had a bit of a read of it.
When the body of Evelyn Harper was discovered in her home, lifeless and surrounded by evidence that suggested a violent struggle. Evelyn, a retired schoolteacher, was beloved by the community. Her death sent shockwaves throughout the town, and the police were under immense pressure to solve the case quickly because people...
So again, he's going off course here, but Alan's dyslexia has not prevented him from reading this out. I'm saying he doesn't have dyslexia. I'm saying he pauses to gather himself when he sees problems in the text where he's like, you know, and like he's also pausing to glamorize it and just to try and do it. Like, he'll take a start point and then he'll start, you know, fantasy glamorizing over the top to put his spin on it. But this is an example of how Alan shouldn't, like, if he really did have dyslexia, then he would have had more trouble reading this. Like, what's even going on here? Like, I'm gonna have to speed him up when he, because we've already read this on the previous episode of Not to Watch at the end, so I'm gonna speed him up while he reads his own ChatGPT creation.
Were afraid to go out. Would the murderer strike a second time? Tiny village. Someone in their midst had done this. Highly likely to be a local. So, the police were under pressure. Immense pressure to solve the case quickly. Detective Sarah Lawson, that could be you, any name you like, right?
That could be you. But also we know that Detective Alan Vinnicombe's going to run the bar in this book. Actually, this is going to get hilarious. I can't actually wait for it. Big ups, Red Fan. Thank you for the 5 gifted memberships. Where's my button? Come on. I'm pressing that button.
Now hold on, Lorraine.
I dream of...
What kind of button do you want? Do you want a nice button or a like... Big ups, Red Fan. Thank you very much for the gifted memberships. Thank you. Thank you to all the members who renew their memberships as well. There is members content on this channel. There is more coming. I didn't know whether to drop Peter Folding's card readers members, but I think we might just make it public because it's a lot of fun.
Bang!
Same.
AD, 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 AD!
Have you got a particular button you want?
Good luck with your channel, son. Good luck with your channel, son.
You could be in the story. You get it? A seasoned investigator from the city, from the big city of Dodge, was brought in as the lead for the investigation. But as the days turned into weeks,
like, what's going to be funny here, I'm going to let this roll a little bit and we're going to watch him struggle, is that, well, he's not struggling to read, apparently, but what's going to be funny is his story is so fucking ludicrous and self-aggrandizing that in a minute he's going to introduce himself as a character and it's going to make him sound like a twat.
no substantial...
Also, the story isn't well written. Like, ChatGPT is not a particularly good author, so it, like, just sort of splurges out a sort of setup, then an explanation, and there's no twist or, like, you know, it's just a very basic sort of pamphlet of a story.
Leads emerged, and the case began to grow cold. Like we all know about cold cases, right?
Yeah.
Luckily for Clearwater, I lived there. This is where I weave me into the story. Chapter 2, the armchair detective, that's me. Alan Vinnicombe, that's me, was a man in his 60s with a weathered face that hinted a life full of stories.
70s, aren't you? Isn't he?
For decades, he'd been the owner of the Brass Lantern, the town's most beloved pub. But after selling his business a few years ago...
After he locked 2 girls in the pub and they escaped out the window, and then he lost all that money because the tax people, because he didn't pay any of the taxes, and he was on the restaurant inspector, yeah, after all that, yeah.
He found himself with more time on his hands than he knew what to do with. So he turned to one of his old hobbies.
Wanking.
Studying CCTV.
Wanking.
And body cam footage.
Yeah, wanking over the CCTV that you've recorded of all the ladies in the bar over the evening. Getting cheeky cameras put in sneaky places. Down low, up high. Around there, bit of thigh. Wanking over the cameras late at night, yeah, got it.
What had started as a way to keep an eye on rowdy patrons and potential thieves during his pub days had grown into obsession. I used to sit there and watch what have they got in their pocket. Are they sneaking drinks in? Have they got nefarious things and, you know, what's going on? Was there a fight going to start? That was my job in the pubs.
That was your job in the pub? So while the pub was really busy, you hid in the office watching the cameras and called it a job? No way. No way. No way. That's not a job. If that happened, someone's put you in that room to keep you out of the way, or you're like some nutty coke addict that's like locked in the office watching all the ladies in the toilet on the cameras. There's nobody that works in a pub when it's busy that would put up with anybody being in the office watching the you've got the fucking pub to run. You're supposed to be serving drinks and what are you talking about? Locked in the office watching the CCTV was your job. It wasn't your job. That's nobody's job at the pub.
Time on his hands that he knew what to do with. So he turned to one of his old hobbies. Studying CCTV and body cam footage. What had started as a way to keep an eye on rowdy patrons and potential thieves during his pub days had grown into obsession. I used to sit there and watch what have they got in their pocket. Are they sneaking drinks in? Have they got nefarious things and, you know, what's going on?
I used to sit there and watch. He's like paranoid about all that. The way you sort that out is you don't run a shithole full of wankers. You like get rid of the wankers. You make the place nice. You don't put up with a load of shit. You don't put on like Britain First rallies. You know, you make sure that it's just like a generally convivial atmosphere. Turn out the wankers, and that will sort itself out. You probably won't have people sneaking in their own drinks, and like that's if you're serving all the scumbags of the earth and entertaining all the wankers, like sneaking in their own drinks, and like, got to keep them on the CCTV. Imagine going to Alan's lovely pub, frisking you on the way in.
Was there a fight going to start? That was my job in the pubs, watching people.
What?
So I became adept, quite good at it.
Adept.
So now I've retired. I study CCTV and police body cam footage.
Right, and so now what's happening is he's combining what it says about the character Alan Vinnicombe with what he's saying about himself, the human being Alan Vinnicombe. So that's going to be confusing for everyone.
What has started was just this hobby, anyway, was now an obsession, as you know, if you know me. AD had spent countless hours poring over surveillance footage from crime.
Porn over. Did you say poring over or porn? Like all this footage, all these videos now. Like this is a new thing really, isn't it? Like he said this before in the past, there are clips of him saying it, but he downplayed it. He said that he wished he could get hack into people's webcams and watch them on their computers. Like he was into that. That was one of his interests. He said he was like a hacker in the same way as he said he was into metadata, you know? Like he'd love to be able to, but he has no idea. However, like he's got a fucking library of CD videos that he's recorded on the fucking CCTVs, and you know all these apps that he uses in the community. Whatever he's doing on Smule is the tip of an iceberg. I'm telling you, I'm telling you, it's the tip of an iceberg.
Oh, now I've retired. I study CCTV and police body cam footage.
You don't.
What had started was just this hobby, anyway, was now an obsession, as you know, if you know me. AD has spent countless hours poring over surveillance footage from crime, training his eyes to spot the smallest details, an odd movement, a suspicious glance.
This is what it says in the story, and this is what he believes about himself, because that Chris Watts stuff, like he was good at CCTV, he doesn't know anything about it and what he's looking for or anything. He's like made that up as a lie to try and sell the concept that he was a good guy on the internet to be watching. And then he started believing it, and now he's written it. Well, the artificial intelligence has written it into a story. Alan must be in a fucking Lulu La La Land. Like he's in a Delulu La La Land. You don't know how much of this. I'm saying it's funny because like he's reading out a story written about himself by the AI, and it's funny. But part of me worries that Alan actually like goes to bed believing some of this shit. You know,
a car shouldn't be here; it should be there. He knew how to read people's behaviour on camera, as if it was second nature.
Yeah.
This made him a sort of unofficial expert in the town, a man people turned to when they needed a second opinion.
What's it like in Exmouth, Alan? Do people turn to you or away from you? Do people question you and need a second opinion about you and about what you're doing with your phone out in the play area? You know, come on, Alan. This is like a fantasy world that you're living in.
There. He knew how to read people's behaviour on camera, as if it was second nature. This made him a sort of unofficial expert in the town, a man people turned to when they needed a second opinion on security issues. One evening, as AD sat in his armchair, sipping on a glass of his favourite whiskey, an idea began to form in his mind. He knew that Evelyn lived on Maple Street, a place where several businesses had security cameras, right? They're installed everywhere. He wondered if the police had thoroughly reviewed all available CCTV footage from that night of the murder.
Why would they? They're the police. They're not going to thoroughly review all the CCTV from the night of the murder. Angry Alan had better get on it. This is a true crime novel to rival Raymond Chandler. Step over, Raymond Chandler. Step over. This is a true crime novel to rival the likes of Raymond Chandler. This is where, obviously I'm making a joke about a novelist from the 1940s, so 50s, so you might not.
Unable to shake them.
This is better than Vera, right? This is better than Vera on ITV. It's better than Vera.
I thought AD made a decision. He would take matters into his own hands. After all, solving puzzles.
I like Vera. She's good, right? I like Vera. She's like the modern Inspector Morse. She's good. It's all right. Fine.
And analysing footage was what he did best.
I actually do like Vera. Don't get your egg on.
Chapter 3. The footage. Vinnicombe contacted an old friend who owned a small electronics store on Maple Street. He asked him for a favour. Jim, could you check his CCTV footage from the night of the murder?
I like the way when he does Vinnicombe's voice in this story, he doesn't have to change it because it's his voice. So he just does it in his voice. He doesn't go like, Jim, could you text the night of the murder? Murder, because he likes doing that, doesn't he? The murder, like Taggart and the murder. But no, it's just his own voice. He doesn't even...
Can I have a copy?
Can I have a copy?
AD wasn't sure what he was looking for.
You.
But he had a gut feeling something had been overlooked by the police. A few days later...
It's interesting, this parallels his work with the Chris Watts case, doesn't it? Like, the man's an arse.
His friend delivered the footage on a USB drive.
Sorted.
AD wasted no time. He plugged it into his computer and began to comb through the hours of grainy...
Where's Nancy?
Come on, button.
High heels on my tippies.
That's not what I was looking for. I was looking for this.
The battery boy.
That's more like it. I made my new buttons much louder, so I think they're better.
Bang!
Black and white footage. It was tedious work, but AD's patience and eye for detail kept him going. After all, he had nothing else to do.
Do's and don'ts.
Well, got kicked off of YouTube. But that's another story.
That's another story. Tell that one, you fucking dickhead. Tell that one again and again. It's my favourite. I'll join up to your Patreon.
After several hours, something caught his eye. At around 11:15 p.m. on the night of the murder, a car pulled across the street from Evelyn's house. A man got out and quickly walked towards her front door.
What he's doing is he's saying, I'm not going to do true crime anymore. Obviously, there's a huge problem in my life. Like, for Alan, there's a huge problem in his life because of it, the court case. Like, it's been his massive downfall overall, hasn't it? He's getting a licking and a kicking, he don't like it. But he still wants to be in this ballpark, this genre of, like, grifting on the internet for doing nothing. So what he's going to do is this, and he's going to move away from the true crime that's got him in trouble, but instead write a fucking story about why he's such a great person for seeing things on CCTV and helping with the murder. Like, it's fantasy delusional La La Land, but it's also pretty much on the nose with what was going on with Chris Watts stuff and your court case, isn't it, Alan? It's pretty similar to that. Only this is fiction and it came out of artificial intelligence with a lot of prompting from you. This is like the other timeline, isn't it? This is the other timeline that thankfully doesn't fucking exist, because like, there must be one in a million billion timelines where Alan is somehow a success in his life, but otherwise, no.
Disappearing from view. Now, the footage wasn't clear enough to identify this man, but AD can make out the shape of his coat, a long, dark coat with a distinctive, oversized collar.
The police missed this.
Wow. AD rewound the footage.
Wow, it's the first time he's read this, isn't it?
Watched it again and again, focusing on the car. Now, this was an older model car, like something from the early 2000s, with a dent on the passenger side. He couldn't make out the license plate, but the details were enough to raise suspicion. AD's mind began to race. He needed more information. He decided to visit another friend, the owner of a cafe.
So how good this story is. It's just one up from Teletubbies.
A block down the road from Maple Street, to see if the cameras might have caught the car driving by on his way to Evelyn's.
This is a mystery. I wonder if I'll work out what's happened in the crime.
Chapter 4.
Chapter 4. Because you know what happens in true crime stories is they lay little seeds of information. You read the book, you meet the characters, you're like engrossed in sometimes the dichotomy between police and civilian and like human and operator, in terms of like, you know, someone who's got to solve this crime but also go through their own emotional turmoil. There's a lot of that in detective novels, isn't there? And then what comes through towards the end is that these pieces start to fall into place, maybe for the detective, maybe for some of the characters in the book, but for you, the reader, you have like, it's almost like a puzzle you get to solve. A really good detective book. That's why Sherlock Holmes is so wonderful, isn't it? Everything was there, all the clues were there, and then he pulls it all together at the end, and you're like, oh, I could have seen that. Well, I didn't know much about the, you know, the chemical makeup of orange paint, but like, you know, obviously Sherlock Holmes did, so he was able to solve it. But you know what I mean? Like, you know, all the clues were there, so like you kind of like lay out all the clues, the seeds, and then you bring it together at the end in this clever twist. But I don't think that's about to happen here.
Piecing it together, the cafe's footage was more revealing. Vinnicombe managed to spot the same car driving by at 11:40 p.m. and again at 12:15 a.m. Seems like the length of a murder, right? This time heading away from Evelyn's house. More importantly, the footage from the cafe's camera was a different angle. And for a brief moment, the driver's face was visible. It wasn't clear, but it was enough to make out some features. A man with a beard wearing a cap.
It's me! I'm the fucking murderer! I'm the fucking murderer! He's added that in. I haven't listened to this. He's added that in, hasn't he? Hasn't he added that in? He's missed out some chunks here. His mind raced. Same car. Oh no, a man with a beard and a cap, it's in there. ChatGPT didn't do that, did it? ChatGPT didn't do it. I'm in the story, I'm famous. He's made me famous. Alan's made me famous. He's put me in one of his stories, painting me like one of his women.
AD printed out the frames showing the car and the man's face. Time to call in the police as he pondered the next step.
Me, I've done it.
It was clear the man in the...
Alan, I've solved it. It's me. I've done it. I've driven past twice as well in my cap. That was stupid. Showed my face to the camera. That was stupid. It doesn't sound like me making these sort of schoolboy errors, but go on.
Footage was probably involved. AD printed out the frames showing the car and the man's face.
Took that to the police and solved it. There's a twist. There must be a twist.
Time to call in the police as he pondered the next step. It was clear the man in the footage was probably involved.
While this is going on in this video, there's a bit at the top that I've not included. Messenger notification. It's 11:01 and he's got a messenger notification. Because this is a screen record off his phone, that sort of stuff goes off. I think it's fairly innocuous. I didn't see anything that's like, you know, oh, get him on that. But like the messages start going off at the top of the screen while this is happening, while he's doing the read through. So it's just the level of the quality of the man. This is a TikTok live that he recorded on his phone and then uploaded to Rumble to encourage you to go to his Patreon to give him money so that he can write your name into an artificial intelligence generating service which is free on the internet, and it will produce a generic crime story that he can copy and paste into the comments and you can take home. You can't afford not to be part of this. This is the chance of a lifetime. 3 easy payments. You can't afford not to sign up. Get this in front of the Dragon's Den. This is going to fly. It's the most convoluted rubbish I've ever heard in my life.
But who was he? But more importantly, why hadn't the police?
The messenger's got to go.
Spotted.
He's skimmed that off. Look, he's gone with his finger. Messenger can go. Don't want the messengers. I'm in the middle of doing a thing. So that must have happened while he was live on TikTok then maybe, and he's screen recording it saying, I don't know how the TikTok screen records work, but he's got the Wikipedia at the top there. It says Wikipedia, that's where he's got this picture from, so at least he's giving them credit. And every now and then he's getting a message, but it won't tell you the content of the message, you know, and he won't obviously show it, so... But maybe it's someone telling him to stop.
This crucial detail. Surely they check CCTV, right? As he was pondering this, there was a knock on the door.
Big ups. How much is it to sign up? The Armchair Detective's Patreon is famously full. So if you do want to sign up to the Armchair Detective's Patreon, if I want to upgrade to paid and get laid, then I press this button and it tells me that I can do £1 a month, that's sold out. £2 a month, that's also sold out. He's very popular. $4.50 a month is also now sold out. So you've got to go in at £8.50 a month, or 13, or 17, or 22.50, or 42.50, or 85. Or you could name your own price, but it's going to start at $8.50. So I don't know why he does this. Nobody does this. Like these random weird integers. I assume it might be American. Like 13 might work out to $10, 17 might work out to 15, 25 might be 20, you know, dollars, pounds, or whatever. I assume it's for the Americans in the past, but why has he done in total 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9 tiers of support there? Seems a bit weird. But yeah, you're going to go in at $8.50 if you want. And it doesn't guarantee you get part of the story. None of this guarantees you that you get part of the stories, because he hasn't adapted his Patreon offering to reflect this new idea. You're just going to have to pay for Patreon and hope. Please don't. Please don't. I assume that these values, I assume he's probably got a couple of people that are signed up from ages ago that have forgotten that it's on their direct debit, and they've forgotten, and he's getting like £12 on that or something. I've probably still got a couple of dollars coming in on mine, maybe. If I don't, if it ever goes down to zero, I'll just close mine. And I'm grateful for any support in any direction. Like, mine was a hangover from the ASMR, and I explained it to everyone that I was basically closing it and offering nothing else. So, but the it's not talking about me. Forget it. We can look at mine if you want. We're not going to. Shut up. I should actually close it. It's like a hangover from so long ago. I prefer the super chats now, and the coffee.com is my favourite. Coffee.com, that's my favourite. It goes on the screen, it reads it out, and I get the larger cut out of all the different options. But I tell you what, I really am appreciative of the memberships as well, because I see that as like long-term sustainability. The sort of people that choose to come back and renew that membership, that's like long-term sustainability, isn't it? Like, I hope they'll be with me long into the future. Some of you chuffers have been here for months, like coming up on 9 months over on Twitch as well, for some, like years on Twitch actually for some of you. So yeah, so I'm very, very grateful for all of that. I'm very grateful, and I'm not encouraging you to fucking come under spurious means to give me, like, you know, I'm not going to put you in a story. I'm going to do the story tonight, and I'll do it for free. You definitely don't get what you pay for with Alan, I'll tell you that.
Detective Lawson.
But like I said, it doesn't work as a concept, does it? Because let's say 10 people sign up to it this month for £8.50. Yeah? Now let's do it quick. Let me just quickly show you this. How this doesn't work for Alan, right? Calculator. Computer. Calculator. Computer calculate. Let's say he's offering £10 a subscription, yeah? And he doesn't get all that money because patrons take a cut. £8 he gets, yeah? Let's just say that. If I'm saying if you're successful, let's say he gets 20 people, that's £160 a month, right? For £160 a month, Alan has to write a story, read it out, and send it to them. Each of them. 20 of them. Okay, the story writing's pretty quick. It goes on ChatGPT, you know, you just type the details in, it does it for you, yeah? But he's got to admin that. Maybe he gets the spanners to do it. But what I mean is, like, he's got to get 20 emails, put their details into it. It's an admin job. It's like data entry. So now he's created himself a data entry job for £160 for 20 people. They're all going to expect it. They're all going to want it. Yeah? Like, if this is successful, this data entry job, then he's got to read it out on a stream. So how is he going to possibly, like, fucking... The music's getting a bit eggy. How's he going to possibly read out 20... Like, one story in itself is quite long. Like, for your money, isn't it? Like, it's going to be... I don't know how many characters he's limiting it to. But one story's relatively long. So, like, he's going to do one episode of story, isn't he, really? Maybe two. So, now he's got to do 10 nights a month. Maybe more. 10 or 15 nights a month. Plus the time he's got to spend making the story. So, it's a full-time job now for the entire month. And he's going to get £160. Like, let's say he works 20 days minimum, because he's going to be on the stream doing at least an hour for reading out the story, 20 days minimum. Plus, let's put in another, like, let's do it in hours, like an hourly rate, yeah? So let's say he does like 20 hours minimum, plus we're going to add in like creation of stories, fucking about, messing about, 30, 40 hours. Let's say it's 40 hours. Like, isn't that a working week, a 40-hour week? Like, let's knock it down to 30 hours. 160 divided by 30 hours working on this, yeah? That's £5 an hour Alan's made himself a job for. £5 an hour. Like, he would be better off going and working at minimum wage anywhere else. And the amount of work he's got to do, and the promise he's made, you know, like the commitment. Like, with another job, you could say, I'm just not doing it tonight, I'm not coming in. Like, fuck it, you wash your own dishes or whatever. But Alan can't do that now. Like, he's committed to this audience. He hasn't got 20 people. He's not doing it for 20 people. But if it was successful, yeah, if it was successful, and then he's going to multiply that out by how many? Like, how many more can he even do? A full working week's worth of work for £5 an hour is Alan's dream job for grifting. Like, it's stupid. He thinks he's grifting by getting easy money by making ChatGPT write the stories. But the way he's choosing to deliver it, the way he's trying to make it into a stream thing, means that if it was successful, it's not a grift, it becomes a job where he, okay, uses ChatGPT to do all the heavy lifting, but still spends hours and hours and hours
I couldn't be happier.
reading our shit stories.
Centerpiece.
Thank you, Body Sculpture.
What character should the armchair Ripper play? It would have to be a modern-day version of Jack the Ripper. This Ripper loves hiding in supermarkets, recording women and kids through his glasses. No one is safe with the Ripper around. What a beast. Super Chuffer owes 5 hugs.
You see, thank you very much for the tippy. I've got £5 and they've written a more original story than Alan's going to come up with, even in that short stanza. So, like, we're winning. I'm winning even more. Wow. Thank you very much. That's very, very gracious of you. And it's, like, I'm now working at the £5 an hour that, like, you know, that's my, I'm doing better than Alan because you've given me that one tippy. Do you know what I mean? Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm really, really grateful for it. I'm saying, like, you know, you go to Dragon's Den, the business plan, you try and work out your costs, your time spent, what you're going to be doing. Alan thinks very short term, very simple. The artificial intelligence will write the story. I don't have to work. But what he actually doesn't realise is that if this is successful, then his patron becomes a rod on his back, where he has to, like, let's say he only gets 5 or 10. Let's say it's below 10, right? Now it's not a very successful thing, but he has to do it every month for 10 people. He has to give up at least a working week every month for fucking £100. Like, wouldn't you rather not have the £100 and have the full week to do whatever the fuck you want else, because you could be more productive and get more than 100? Like he's running himself into a narrow, like, down a. It doesn't make sense as a business, Dragon's Den wise, and you can't multiply it up. Like, unless he stops reading them out and starts just saying, here's the story, thanks very much. He's not going to be able to, like, beyond 30 people, he can't make that any bigger. If it was really successful and he got 100 sign up, then he's fucked, because he can't do them all in a month. Even if ChatGPT writes them. Like, I suppose at that stage, though, what you could suggest, and I don't know why I'm giving him business plan tips, but then you could suggest is that Alan doesn't have to read them, just pay someone else to read them. And then you're done. Like, then you've got an operational business where people pay you money to have stories read out about them. But I don't think it's going to work. Again, I think the Dragon's Den would probably be out at this stage.
Eerie, but determined. Word had spread that AD had been asking around about the footage, and she was curious to know why AD was involved in this. Alan invited her in.
Back to the story. He's got another messenger notification at the top there.
And showed her the footage.
Now, he's got the detective round, and the detective is obviously a hottie lady with long dark hair and a brown bikini. Well, in my story, she is.
Lawson's eyes widened as she realised what they were looking at. She had indeed reviewed the same CCTV footage from the area, but the police had dismissed the car as unrelated. Don't know why. But they do that all the time. Instead, focus on potential suspects with motives.
He scanned off the messenger, said get rid of that message, and then he got another one.
Who she knew. She leant back and she said, this changes everything, AD.
Got another messenger.
Could see her mind was working to connect the dots. Chapter 5, The Confrontation.
It's a good story though, isn't it? In a way. Hang on, I know another good story.
Alan, do you want me to walk into your life wearing my clip-clop shoes and my brown bikini? Listen up, Alan, you bastard. You are never getting my clip-clop shoes or my kissy. I am Nickel Dam Kessinger, and I demand my kissy from Scotty Hottie. I want him to sex me off a proper good one. I need some kissy from Super Chuffer.
No.
Alan, you are a worm and you lose at poker all the time. It's sad to see you scrubbing around and noncing about.
We already... Hey!
You are pathetic, and Rumble is where you belong.
Shut up, Nicole. Right. We've already done this. It just occurred to me in my brain. We've already done this. Do you remember? We wrote an armchair detective poker story about Alan being really bad at poker and all the people in the town, and Alan, like, don't you remember? We did artificial intelligence stories about Alan playing poker and then being bad and him being bad. Do you remember? You'll have to go back and watch the old streams. Like, we did this already. We've done this to Alan already. We've already done this. I've already used artificial intelligence to write stories about Alan in a negative. I asked it to give me a scathing review of Alan as well. I've already done this.
Nickel-Dam Kessinger demands her kissy with Scotty Hottie.
Who do you think wrote this fucking stuff from Nicole Kessinger?
Nickel-Dam
Well, actually, that was me.
Nickel-Dam Kessinger demands her kissy with Scotty Hottie. Alan Vinnicombe has made her really mad. She is going to crush him beneath her clip-clop shoes.
With the new evidence in hand, Lawson began her investigation. In fact, she intensified it. The car was identified quickly.
Yeah, you could have stole the idea of us, but we did it months ago. Months ago.
As belonging to a man named Mark Thompson, a local mechanic with no prior criminal record. When questioned, Thompson, of course, denied everything. But pressure mounted as Lawson grew evidence against him.
These names now, Lawson and Thompson, are confusing. If you're writing a novel and you've got two names that you're going to introduce quite quickly, like this, Lawson and Thompson, then have them be different, like Lawson and Eggy. Oh, do you egg? Do you like egg? Do you like an egg? Are you a fan of an egg? Do you like an egg? Do you know what you're thinking about now? Do you know what you're thinking about now? You're not thinking about an egg sandwich, are you? An eggy sandwich, a nice egg sandwich. How do you like your egg? Have you got your egg on? Are you eggy? Did you have your egg sandwich last night? You. Like yeah, you give them two different names, so like Lawson and Egg. And that way, like, when you're talking in the novel, like, characters are more easy to... Like, the brain here, Lawson and Thompson, he's like, what? Who's who? And, like, even Alan's having trouble with it, I'm sure.
I wonder what that was. AD followed the case closely from a distance and left it to the police.
Yeah.
But he was feeling a sense of satisfaction.
Yeah, how can he possibly, after all of this time... Dyslexic my ass. Dyslexic my ass. I'm doing Luke's voice. Dyslexic my ass. Do you think Luke would make a good Jim Royal? Hey, my name's Luke, and I'm doing Jim Royal. Dyslexic my ass. Luke's Anthony, isn't he? Luke's Anthony.
But something still bothered him.
I'm not. I have to be Jim Royal. I'm going to be Jim Royal. Out of all those people, I have to be Jim Royal, don't I? I'm not being fucking Dave. Then again, Dave gets to shag Denise, and like Denise is well fit. Maybe I should be Dave. Actually, and Anthony's too cool. Anthony's too cool. This is a really weird one. I can't place myself or Luke in that setup. Can't place us in there at all.
What was the motive?
What was the motive?
Why would Thompson, an ordinary man, a mechanic who lived in this town...
This is the crux of it for his true crime story, is have you been given the pieces to solve this murder yourself from the earlier parts of the story, or are they just going to throw them all at you at the end?
All his life, Clearwater, population 1,026.
I mean, Liverpool, Liverpool, is he Liverpool? Is that why I'm doing it wrong? Of course, isn't it? He's not from Manchester, is he? I just think they're all families set in Manchester, so I'm doing Manchester. He's Liverpool, it's car park. See me in the car park, can't find my car. Alright, la. Liverpool, Liverpool. Get down the Anfield. L5 shout, L5 alive. L5 shouts out Darren G as well. Shouts out Count Out UK, Darren G, who I think is cool. L5, obviously my Liverpool accent's not the best, but you got to try. Car park. See me in the car park. Way. Liverpool. My ass.
Murder Evelyn Harper, a lovely lady, homeless. Well, it wasn't... But the last few days, something changed. The final piece of the puzzle fell into place.
Bang!
An anonymous tip led the police to discover that Evelyn had been investigating a series of fraudulent insurance claims.
An anonymous tip led the police to... Sorry, you couldn't hear Alan saying it because of his going got his teeth in properly. An anonymous tip led the police to discover that there'd been a series of fraudulent insurance claims. This isn't the way to solve a true crime novel.
Aha.
Big ups, Kaz.
Bang!
Congratulations and thank you to everyone that's helped Kaz get a haircut. No, congratulations to everyone that helped to raise money for the Macmillan cancer. That went really well. Thank you. She smashed the target.
Bang!
Do's and don'ts.
Now, the claims were insurance jobs.
And well done, Kaz, for doing it.
Fact.
From Thompson's garage. He was making insurance claims for cars that he didn't repair with another man. When Evelyn confronted Thompson with these findings, he panicked.
This is me. I'm Thompson, remember? I'm the murderer. So I've got a beard and a cap, and then now I've also got a garage where I'm putting through fraudulent insurance claims. So I'm a pretty bad egg, I am. So what's going to happen now is the crime's going to get solved. I'd better run. What am I going to do?
Fearing that his livelihood would be destroyed by Evelyn, because she made a mistake of going into his garage and saying, look, I've got this evidence. I don't know why she did that. She should have took it to the police, right?
Alan, you wrote the story. You wrote the story?
She didn't. She took it to the perpetrator, and in a moment of desperation, he decided to silence her. Whether she wanted money for this evidence is something we're never going to know.
He's making up conspiracy theories about his own crime fiction work that he got ChatGPT to print out. He's making up a conspiracy theory about a fiction that ChatGPT, the artificial intelligence, has spat out. Like, what's happening?
But his decision was to get rid of Evelyn. Chapter 6.
Oh, there we go. Chapter 6.
Justice served.
Right.
Thompson was arrested and charged with the murder of Evelyn Harper. The town of Clearwater...
So, how did she get out of that situation in the garage? We left it on a cliffhanger. She was in the garage. Why did she confront the murderer? She's got the evidence, but he wants to silence her. And then he got arrested, so at the end... Like, so it worked out all right. Are you all right yourself, Alan? Did part of your story suffer from a stroke? Like, where did it go? Oh, people, Scott, you shouldn't make jokes about that. Listen, we've all suffered. Well, I haven't, but like, we've all had family who've suffered. Like, we all know people who've suffered with serious things. We're having a bit of a laugh. Listen, there's been a blackout in this story. Calm yourself. Calm yourself. Oh no! Oh no! Part of my story's missing. What happened with the cliffhanger? You didn't even bother to make it up on the spot, Alan. You should have made that bit up on the spot with your clever story ideas.
Finally breathed a sigh of relief as justice was served and they could walk the streets once more.
This is a bad advert for what you're offering on Patreon. People won't want to pay for this. They'll see this and they'll think, I'm not paying for this. Like, who in their right mind would watch this and think, right, this has gone really well. There's 16 minutes of my life that I don't want back. I'd rather repeat. So I'm going to sign up to Patreon, get my name and personal details right up in there so that Alan can turn them into one of his stories. I can't wait. It's going to be the fucking highlight of my month. I'm going to collect them up into a journal and then probably see if I can publish them as a light novella later on in the year. In fact, I should sign up to his Patreon and give him all of my fucking like things that I want him to talk about, and then make him make stories. It's the first time I've ever thought that giving Alan money is a good idea. It's not. Listen, it's never a good idea to tip the cow. He's a lol cow. Never give him money. Like, never give him money. He's on a grift. Why give him money? You know. But part of me thinks that giving him a series of inane prompts and like weird shit, because he's gonna have to read it out for the money. Like, that's the deal. Artificial intelligence will do the story, but you give him the prompts and the details, and he will read it out. And then every month, I'm supposing, is the deal, yeah? If I'm $8.50 a month, I'm there every month with a new story, a new set of ideas. And like, we can have it as an ongoing saga. We can weave the characters on through the future. And at the end of the year, I should have 12, well, there's not that many months left in the year, but, you know, I should have 6 to 12 chapters or like sections of a really badly written artificial intelligence piece that I could have done myself on ChatGPT that I didn't like. The story would be irrelevant. What I'd really have is the 8 chapters of Alan reading it out. That's what I'd have. Like, this is actually the prospect of a content goldmine, but it's give and take. Like, do you want to give Alan £10 in order to make him look like a fool once a month? No. But Alan, do you know what? People would. And I think if you just lent into that instead, like if you did like a ducking stool, where you literally just like sat on a ducking stool over a load of like smelly water, and every time someone paid you £10 you fell in it, then you'd make more money than this. Like, people would be interested in that. And I offer and raise, again, don't know this for a fact, I'd have to look into it more, but I believe there's a way that people who are banned on YouTube can actually be on YouTube content if the producer of the YouTube content is like interviewing them and like, you know, not giving them like the platform and they're not doing the content themselves. If there's someone else running it, like maybe there's a, like, not a workaround there, but like there's a possibility we could still present like a Top Gear style magazine show that has Alan in it in some way, that we could do as a YouTube phenomenon show. He's still got to get his head around this. The best thing for Alan at this moment, if he wants to make some money on the internet, is to team up with the Chuffer. And I'm not defending a nonce here. I think he's a really bad nonce, and we're going to have him like eventually have to. I want, as part of the package, the big interview where I ask him all the tough questions and he has to say all the, you know, the answers, and like, I want that Prince Andrew interview out of it, you know. But before we get to that, we can fucking muck about like Top Gear. I'll be Jeremy Clarkson, you'll be Richard Hammond, and we get Luke on as well, and like we'll go around and do things, won't we? And it'll be
bang,
good, won't it?
Bang.
Do's and don'ts.
We can call it the Do's and Don'ts show.
Do's and don'ts.
I'm the do and you're all the don'ts.
Now, Detective Lawson visited Alan one more time to thank him. "You should be back on the force," she joked.
She choked, did she? Sorry, Alan. What are you doing to Detective Lawson? Is she wearing a brown bikini?
But there was a hint of seriousness in her tone. She knew what the armchair detective did. AD smiled and shook in his head. "I'm happy."
AD smiled and shook in his head.
"I am," he replied. "But if ever you need a second pair of eyes, you know where I am." Lawson nodded knowingly. She in fact knew this wouldn't be the last time that Clearwater's very own armchair detective would lend a hand in solving a mystery in this town. As she left, Alan settled back in his armchair, feeling a deep sense.
He literally did it. He literally leant back in his armchair. Like the story prompted him to. It's him in the story, so he felt compelled to do it. Like, I wonder if you write stories about Alan the armchair detective, like prompting him to do things, whether he will then go ahead and just carry on and egg sandwich anyone? White bread? Butter? Tomato sauce? Brown sauce? Do you like the tangy brown sauce? What do you think of when you think of an egg? Super Chuffer. Why am I doing that? I don't want to associate eggs with me. It's Eggy Eddie. Eddie's the one. He's the egg man. Eddie's the egg man. Eddie's the egg man. Listen, get that into your head. Eggie's the... First you think Super Chuff, and then you remember. You remember the reason you're thinking eggs, the reason eggs are on the menu, the reason it's an egg at all is because Eddie's the eggy egg man. Egg, Eddie, Eddie, isn't it? Eggy, Eddie with all egg on his face, Eggy.
I've just had a lovely cup of tea and a bakewell tart.
Satisfaction. The puzzle had been solved, and once again his sharp mind had made all the difference. As he reached for his neck book to read, it crossed his mind. There was always another mystery waiting to be unravelled. And when it did, he'd be ready. Be it a crime, a theft, a murder, a ghost story, a mystery.
He's like Batman, isn't he? He's on the rooftop waiting.
He'd be there for the people of Clearwater. The end. Alan Vinnicombe.
He changed the name to Townwater randomly at the end, so maybe he... managed to fuck it up just at the end.
So there you go. That's what I write.
You don't write it. The artificial intelligence writes it. Why you keep saying you write it?
If you would like to be one of those characters there, meet me.
I like that. This is all for TikTok. He doesn't do this so much on Rumble, does he, with the hands?
He'd be there for the people of Clearwater. The end. Alan Vinnicombe. So there you go. That's what I write. If you would like to be one of those characters there, meet me the next time I go live on here on TikTok.
They do Kung Fu.
And I'll weave you into the story, which we'll work out. What's it going to be? What sort of era? What's the plot? Was it a woman that's murdered? Or was it a man? Was it a mystery? Was it a kidnapping? Why did they do it?
They're your options.
And we'll build it together, okay? So that's what it is. And
then for some reason his video goes weird here, but this is his video going weird.
And when we've done the story on TikTok, I'll go straight to Patreon and we'll finish the book.
We'll go straight to Patreon and finish the which is now a book. A book. And this is where the grift comes in. You're enthralled at this point. It's got your name on it. You're in the story. You've gone to chapter 2, 3, 4. You've given all your details. You've had a great TikTok stream. Things are going well. And then what? It just ends. And you don't want it to end. Well, don't worry. With a small financial hurdle, something you cannot afford not to pay, you can't afford not to take this offer, one easy payment of £8.50 a month, you can move into Patreon and we can continue. This is where it comes in. Time to swipe. Get your card out, time to swipe.
If you would like to be one of those characters there, meet me the next time I go live on here on TikTok.
Big ups Pitbull Sleuth. Yes, we've now been promised a book. Big ups Arcad.
And I'll weave you into the story, which we'll work out. What's it going to be? What sort of era? What's the plot? Was it a woman that's murdered, or was it a man?
Definitely a murder then.
Was it a mystery? Was it a kidnapping?
Could have been a kidnapping as well before the murder happened. Big ups at the scene with Hayley V. I have no idea what happened in the story. Let me give you a quick overview. Like, it was a murder mystery, and the main character was Alan Vinnicombe, who ran a bar, but he's given that up now, and he just solves crimes for the people of Clearwater in his free time. And there'd been a murder, and no one knew who'd done it. That's why it's a murder mystery, who done it. Her name was Evelyn, I remember that bit. I think she came to some grisly end. I don't know if that was really mentioned, exactly what had happened to her. I don't think they did an autopsy. And then Alan realised that the police had not done their job properly and had missed things on CCTV. So he went and checked the CCTV and found things the police needed to have spotted and presented them to the police, who then took them to the murderer. Cut. The crime is now solved. They've made an arrest. Alan is up for an award, basically, and the police lady came to give him a suck at the end. And he said, just the suck, really. I'm not going to join the police again. I'm just happy in my armchair with my whiskey and Nicole Kessinger lap dancing. The end. You can put any details in you want. If you want, thank you very much for the super chat at the scene with Hayley V. If you want, oh yeah, it finished with Batman, didn't it? Like, if you ever need me again, shine a thing in the sky, shine an image in the sky of just like some kids singing with an old man on Smule, and then I'll come running. That's what, he's just set up for the next story, really.
Why did they do it? And we'll build it together, okay?
Eggy, thank you, Admit Audacity.
I've just had a lovely cup of tea and a Bakewell tart.
Eggy. Well, how'd you make those tarts? Why doesn't he like egg tarts?
I've just had a lovely cup of tea and a Bakewell tart.
He should like egg custard, really.
I've just had a lovely cup of tea and a Bakewell tart.
Bang!
So that's what it is. And then when we've done the story on TikTok, I'll go straight to Patreon and we'll finish the book. Well, story, let's not say a book, like a short story you see in magazines. And that would be emailed to you, and you will be in the story. And I'll sign it, Alan Vinnicombe, armchair.
No, he's going to sign it. Another promise he can't, making a promise his mouth is making a promise that he can't, you know what I mean? He can't, a check he can't, no, he's not going to sign anything. No one wants him to sign anything. Why do you need him to, you devalue things when you write on them, Alan. It's like graffiti. No one's going to want your sweaty, smelly fingerprints on anything.
Detective. And you have a copy of a true crime story to keep.
A true crime story,
story, let's not say a book, like a short story.
It's not a book anymore.
Where you see in magazines. And that would be emailed to you.
You're eating an egg.
You will be in the
You're eating an egg. Listen, is anyone in chat eating an egg? Can we have eggs in chat? And also, there's a new thing that's going around. You're allowed to throw tomatoes at me. If you do a tomato emoji, like, I don't know why I'm telling you this. You've got a button that says show your support, and it's got the pound money on it, and people have been using that to show support. But if you don't want to show support, your other option, it's a new thing we're introducing, is to use the... There's Pom Bears doing it now. Pom Bears is doing it now. I shouldn't have... Now I've got Pom Bears doing it. So that's negative. I'm stealing it off TikTok. They throw tomatoes on TikTok. Tomatoes. Pom Bears has done it now. So that's negative. The tomatoes is like a negative, but it's alright. Look, Admit Audacity's throwing a load of tomatoes at me. It's negative, but it's all right. I can handle it.
Story.
Peanuts. She's throwing peanuts at me. Dover and Dolly's mum's throwing peanuts at me. Anything you throw in chat, I'm going to have to duck and dodge. You've also got the button to support. You can choose. There's the egg. Marcel's found the egg. So you can throw eggs at me. Cherries. I think they're not. I don't know if you throw cherries at me. Cherries is like a win. It looks like I've won on the thing. It's like a fruit machine. I've got to try and get 3 cherries. If you want to support, do cherries. If you want to throw the tomatoes, and what you can do is do it in chat, and then if I get a row downwards of like 3 cherries or 3 tomatoes, then I win. Or like it's like a fruit machine now. Look, you're only allowed to do one kind of fruit, but if the next person after you chats the same kind of fruit, then it's like a fruit machine, and it'll no tomatoes there. I'm getting tomatoed. Like you don't actually have to do them all now, but if you ever disagree in the future and you just want to throw tomatoes, bear it in mind. I'm not dodging dicks. I'm not. Hang on. What's Dover and Dolly's mum done now? Hang on. Hang on.
Sign it, Alan Vinnicombe, armchair detective, and you have a copy of a true crime story to keep forever, including you and some facts about you. That'd be fun, right? That's what it's going to be. That's what it's going to be. So join me next time on TikTok for our first on-true detective story. On-true detective stories.
It's fiction. Fiction. Crime fiction.
With AD. You're going to be the star. You're going to be in it. Don't forget, next time I go live...
Bring your brown bikinis, ladies.
You should get a notification. So you need to subscribe to this channel now. So you'll get a notification when I'm next going live. Obviously, you need to be here. But even if you miss...
Obviously, you will need to be here.
That's it.
I'm watching this on Rumble. You fucking Burke. What? At the end of the Rumble thing you've uploaded for 16 minutes, it is a repeat of what he put on TikTok. But why... What do you want me to do, Alan? You want me to go from Rumble to your TikTok so I can watch your TikTok, and then after the TikTok you want me to go back to Rumble to watch your Patreon? What do you even want me to do, Alan?
You can still come to Patreon and be in the story and get a copy of the story sent to you. It should be fun, right? Should be fun. Should be fun.
That's it. Convince me it's fun.
Let's do something that's entertaining.
Yes, we should. You should. So don't turn it into a fucking weird grift. Like, just do something fun, you nutter. And do stop doing them on TikTok. TikTok's the worst place in the world for you. I'm going to be on you if you're on TikTok. You can have your Rumble. You can have your Rumble. I'll concede the Rumble. Okay, I'll let you have the Rumble. But the TikTok's full of kids. I just don't think you should have a TikTok. I want you to delete your TikTok. No secret TikTok account you're looking at kids on. Just delete it. All of it. Get rid of it. Don't think you should be on TikTok. Are we talking a hardback or a pamphlet? Signed. Thank you at the scene with Hayley V for the 199 super chat. Thank you. It's going to be signed. Hang on. It's going to be a signed copy. He's going to have a table out with all the books on it, and you're going to get to turn up at Waterstones. They're going to invite him to CrimeCon as an example of a criminal.
And not... There's a horrible world out there at the moment, isn't it? There's a jungle.
What? You've made it horrible with all your content.
Let's get the community going again and have some fun with on-true crime stories with the armchair detective.
Yeah, no, at least he's got that in his brain. That's exactly what I've been telling him. Why are you pouring out all this horrible, horrible bile? It's disgusting and disgraceful. It's put everybody off you, Alan. You're right at the bottom at the start again now, and you've really got a mountain to climb. You're going to have to show some positive personality traits. That's the basic. Like, you really are in trouble. So that's the offering, right? That's the offering. Here is the result. Do I need to watch the TikTok one beforehand? I don't know. This was August 25th. It's now the 27th. Let me just check the TikTok. Like, 'cause he's done another story here. This one was 1 day ago, so I'm saying we watched them in chronological order, yeah? So this is Alan wearing his youngest looking clothes. What's happened to the background now? Why did you make so much effort to put up those paintings and that fucking thing that you bought at the market with your name on it to blur it out? You've got. I think what's happened is he's rediscovered filters. He thought filters were the problem, and that because of the filters, his computer couldn't work. But I don't think it was. I think he's stupid, and he's rediscovered filters, and he's gone hard on the filters to the point where his face looks like a manga cartoon, like an anime cartoon. Like he's got one skin tone across the whole lot. Like he's blending now. He's not going to be there in the future. He's going to be one blend with a little mouth in the middle. He's got his Chelsea shirt on that he bought from the market. JJB Chelsea shirt. Here he is, the man himself, Angry Alan, the armchair detective, with his patron, £8.50. He's called it Untrue Crime Starring You. He still hasn't got it into his head what, you know, you just have to go more to... How does he not know that crime fiction is called crime fiction? This is the one thing that's making me most angry tonight. I don't want to get angry tonight. I'm not here to get my egg on. But how does he not know that crime fiction is called crime fiction? Fish got nothing to do with it. Crime fiction. Fish, not... Oh, forget it. How does he not know that crime fiction is called crime fiction? And why does he call it untrue true crime? Untrue true... Let's go. It's a laugh, it's a scream, it's the spinning machine. That's a remix of doody doody deedy doody doody. He's remixed it. He's given us a remix. He's given us a remix of Doody Doody. And he remixed it with the old war song, didn't he? From the old Great Escape. Is this his great escape from some financial trouble to do another weird grift? Is that what this is? I'm just going bathroom. I'm back in 1 second. The fastest ride on the fair. Step right up. Don't be scared. The fastest ride on the fair. Step on up. Does anyone want to go faster? Scream if you want to go faster. Okay. What's happening? Sorry. Alan's doing his thing. I had a thought in my mind, right? You know, I've got this. We've got this. We've got this. The old artificial intelligence to do things these days, yeah? And like, it can do pictures and, like, you know, it can do, like, things like this, yeah? Like, these days, at the high end, at the very high end, they're using artificial intelligence to create films, to write scripts, you know, to do all sorts, aren't they, really? I think you'll find that there will be more artificial intelligence in the mainstream media space, in films, in TV. You know, they'll incorporate it in little ways. There's probably pushback amongst the script writers, the guilds, all sorts, but, you know, in the future, it's a tool, they're going to use it, yeah? So at the high end, you're going to get, like, actual films, like, you know, like Lord of the Rings 7 or something, written in the style of J.R.R. Tolkien, like, by artificial intelligence, starring all the old actors that are dead, with artificial intelligence used to, you know, make it all, and like set on the actual island of like what's it called? The actual set in actual Mordor, according to artificial intelligence, like you know, like filmed in anyway Mordor vision. But like that'll be the high end. That'll be the one end, and then at the other end, you've got what Alan's doing, which is using ChatGTP to make a story and reading it out on a patron. This is the other end. The other end. The shit end, where things aren't going so well. Oh, bless him.
Slow going, isn't it? I'm supposed to be live. Ah! Riff Raff, you're the one.
The only one?
First one to see me.
Riff Raff is now the new anaphylaxis.
Hopefully, you can all see me.
No, I literally believe this, that they've all got a little job. And that it's like Alan has like a checklist of little things that if it doesn't happen, he has some sort of meltdown and tantrum, and they know it as spanners. So a few of them have left recently. They're really down to the bare bones now. But the ones that are there have taken over the roles. So Anaphylaxis used to always be there to say hello at the start, didn't she? Like it was like that was her job. And as long as she's done that, she can then duck out and doesn't have to do any of this other shit that the others do. Cacao was providing scripts and content and things to say. You know, doing her little presentations and giving them to Alan to say. And then obviously they would veer into racism and Scottish politics because that's what she wanted to talk about. So every now and then he'd have to do one to keep her sweet. But this like Anaphylaxis is gone. This is now someone else's job to be there to tell him that the stream is working because they can see it.
I'm supposed to be live. Ah! Riff Raff, you're the one. First one to see me.
Yeah, we haven't seen Nancy for a good long time, and he's not pandering to like the problem that with Alan and Nancy is that Nancy's there to support his pursuit of Nicole Kessinger, if she's real, and you know we've never known really. Like I've always suspected there could be some money laundering going on, but Nancy, you know, £200, £500 a throat. Nancy has decided to not throw any money at him because he's not doing any real stuff on Nicole Kessinger, is he? And there are other channels out there and other like ways she could spend her money far better. Like surely, like even if that's what she's into, even if she wants to have a pop at Nicole Kessinger through a YouTuber, you know, like if that's what she's trying to fund here, like there can be no real deep down attachment to Alan and what he's doing like as a human being because he hasn't, like I've said over and over again, like he, devoid of personality as content. When he provides it, it's abhorrent. So like I think Nancy doesn't really like Alan and just wanted to attack Nicole Kessinger, and there's better ways to do it. Yeah, so I don't think that she's giving him any money anymore. Or the other option is that it could have been money laundering, and when we called it out as money laundering, and now that things have changed with him being on YouTube, like because YouTube you can pay money and you get it through the AdSense, and it can kind of like work as a like when you chuffers give me super chats, I don't know who, like, I get paid by YouTube at the end of it. I don't know who's giving me money, and my accountant, my tax people, they can't say, oh, could that have been given by this person or this person? It's just YouTube, isn't it? AdSense money. So it could be for Alan, I assume, like possibly a way of laundering money, because like it could have been that he had a load of cash, gave it to someone, and then they pay him a £500 super chat. He loses some money on the transaction, but it's money you lose. Like you'd lose half of it if you're laundering it through the mafia. Right. So, do you know what I mean? Like you probably get a better percentage off YouTube. So you give someone all the dirty cash, and then they give it you back as super chat. The one big super chat, Nancy, could have been his payday that he's no longer getting or no longer laundering in that way. You know, these are all ideas. These are all ideas. These are all better ideas than the artificial intelligence nonsense that he writes, because they're founded in circumstantial evidence. Like his character is one of those evidences. You know, his continued and consistent bending and breaking of the rules, fraud, lies, deception. Like he's doing it today with this whole grift scam on pretending he's writing stories for people. Like he's a con man.
Hopefully, you can all see me.
If he talks too quietly, I'll have to boost him up and turn down the background music. So you tell me.
Only one person can see me, yeah?
Big ups, Red Fan. Alan's having a really bad time. Alan's having a really bad time here. Only one person in his chat, right? And I think he was expecting some feedback from TikTok or whatever, like some, oh look, I've got 3 people on a story. Okay, first day in business, we're in business. Like, you know, if you open up a new business, you start a new venture, then what you're looking for is some sort of response. And I think Alan's probably got 0 response whatsoever, like literally 0. And here's me celebrating it. Thank you very much, Red Fan, for the 5 gifted subs.
AD's sexual deviant, AD's a combat, AD's a crook, AD owes tax. Harassment or unwanted behaviour that makes someone feel degraded, humiliated or offended. True threats of violence, serious expressions of intent to commit acts of unlawful violence. Misinformation, false and inaccurate information, false rumours, insults, pranks. Deliberate misinformation includes malicious context, propaganda, false statements, obscenity, swearing, sexual obscenity. You know, revenge porn. All these things are easy to ban. You know what shouldn't be on YouTube.
Thank you very much for the 5 gifted subs. Thank you. Thank you for your continued support, Red Fan. Thank you very much. Thank you. Let's go to the moon. I think I've given out all my gifted subs. I think I've given all mine out, but we might try on a what do you call them, a premiere. I might see if I can drop some more on a premiere if I haven't, because my thing doesn't seem to let me in this window this month.
This is the slowest I've ever seen it.
It's the slowest he's ever seen it.
Hello?
That's because you're offering them an artificial intelligence story with their name in it. Alan, your idea is a bad one and it's put people off. What you should do, Alan, I've told you a number of times, is reminisce on the old things you used to enjoy over a glass of gin, like you did on that fucking episode where we got the Battery Boy clip from. Start with that. Start with that. Come on with me and we'll talk about subjects that are inoffensive. Films, TV, some stuff. You watch. You watch. It'll be the start of a journey. Let me call the shots on what makes good content with you in it. Because I know better about what makes good content with you in it than you clearly do. Look at what you're doing. I can make better content with you in it, Alan, with my ideas. So if you want that, if you want this, you have to step and become part of it. You can't do it yourself. Look.
Knocking everything everywhere. I have a problem getting any vision here, guys. I can't see anyone. Difficult, isn't it?
You don't
see anyone.
You don't see them when you're streaming. Do you mean you've got a problem seeing chat? He's gone? Oh, he's back.
Hello?
Is it that there's no one in your chat, Alan?
Oh, I can't see. Here he is. Here he is.
Oh, here he
That
is.
was the longest running in the history. Took you 5 minutes to come on.
No, it didn't. You've been live for this entire time.
Alright. Hopefully you can all see me now.
What?
At the moment, it's just riffraff.
This, as I said, who would be interested in this? Riff Raff and Nona Zinana. That's the only ones. Riff Raff has bought a picture of his fucking dog off him. Of her own dog. Painted by him. Like, Riff Raff would give him money for a fucking tea bag that he's had in his... You know, I used this tea bag earlier. It was quite a nice cup of tea. Does anyone want to buy a signed tea bag from the armchair? Yes, Riff Raff will buy it. Like, at this point, you might as well just tell Riff Raff how much money you want from her per annum and just have her deposit it into the account. Riff Raff. Riff Raff's the only one there to watch this nonsense.
Can you see me? Please say if you can see me in chat. Yeah. So we've got not many people here. I'm a bit worried that no one's here.
Worried?
Oh, you made it. You made it. Hoosty go. Right, we have a new lady join us today. So
what's happening now is either, right, the word has gone round the spanners, because I mean I can't see this because he hasn't got many spanners left, but like they've had to sort of say, oh quick, get someone else in, otherwise Alan might have a meltdown. Either that or this whole thing, like I said, it could be an elaborate scam to scam one person, and like it could be this Hoosie girl's the one. We've got her into the patron, we've got our claws in. Like, you might have even met her in real life. You might have even met her at the supermarket. Or do you like true crime? Or you love true crime stories? I do them on the internet. You know, it might span out some lies. Oh, I do true crime stories on the internet. Oh, I'm an author. Yeah. I do. Yeah. And like, you know, like then he's like thought, oh, I could get a £10 off her. Like, you know, he's managed to get someone into the fucking patron that's new. That can't be real. That can't be normal. That can't be just someone on TikTok who thought this is a good idea, surely. So how's this working? And like, this must now all be an elaborate, like, you know, it's got an elaborate setup to be pointed at one person to get them to give him money. Notice as well the glasses and the side of him, it fails. The blurred background fails when he moves around. Like the filters fail all the time, so it makes him look stupid.
I'd like you to welcome. I'm going to call it Chris, who's joined Patreon tonight. She was on Tiki Toki, and she joined tonight.
No way.
She was in the story. So, like I said, I'm going to send her that story.
I think that's fake.
I've got your email.
I think that's fake. I think that's somebody that he set up so that they... Like, I can't believe that someone would go on TikTok, watch his live stream, have him put them in a story like that, and then join his Patreon. I can't believe it. So I think it's someone that's like, you know, like when con artists put fake people in the room so that they think, you know, oh, I'll buy one, oh, maybe I'll buy one. You know, I think that might be fake. Otherwise, why would he seem so down about it? It seems weird, this does. Like, he's managed to sell one of his fucking... What do they call them? Wolf tickets. Like, he's managed to sell one of his wolf tickets. You know, one of his... He's managed to sell a bridge in China to someone. And he's unhappy. Alan, you just got £8.50 for doing fuck all.
Kirsty, I've got your email.
Well, it actually was quite an elaborate grift, wasn't it? It actually took a lot of work, didn't it? That's the problem.
He's sending you that story as a gift from AD.
It's not a gift. She's paid £8.50.
Little signature. Right.
A signature? What signature? How are you going to send her your signature? Are you going to get her address? Are you going to print it out on paper?
So the idea is...
The idea is, the story you told earlier is now going to be elaborated upon into a much larger volume.
In these troubled times, when all we hear is bad news on the radio...
You don't have to do the pitch now. This is the patron.
The TV, on your doorstep. I decided to come up with an interactive thing where we'll work together in true crime. Because, to be fair, we're all true crime aficionados, aren't we?
You're not an aficionado. Alexa, define aficionado.
Aficionado is usually defined as an ardent devotee, fan, enthusiast.
No, Alan's not an aficionado. Devotee, fan, or enthusiast. I'm an aficionado of Ellie Arquette, look.
I don't know what it
is. More about that.
You can shut up. I'm a fan, an aficionado of Ellie Arquette, look.
With the people that come after, the people that want to talk about her. We're not saying anything negative about her. We're admiring her. We're inspiring to be like her. Did you hear Angelina Jolie left her baby at the airport?
Angelina Jolie left a baby at the airport? No, I didn't hear that. You just said it.
Inspiring to be like her. Did you hear Angelina Jolie left her baby at the airport?
No. Did she? Did you say that, Ellie?
We're inspiring to be like her. Did you hear Angelina Jolie left her baby at the airport? Huh? Angelina Jolie's kids are grown, though.
Yeah, it must have been a long time ago now. So, back to Alan.
But there's so much murdering going on that I don't want to talk about it. So I'm going to talk about on true crime, which is crime that never happened. That way I can't get in any trouble.
It's crime fiction.
Get taken to court. Everything's like
you can still get
real people. So
you could still get taken to court if it really seems on the nose that you're talking about real people.
Cheers.
Cheers. Your life is in tatters, and now you're scraping the barrel of ideas. Alan, you still want to be part of the true crime world, but because you're not, is he a court order at this point, or is he just like afraid? Like he's going to toe the line, do the rules, and he's not going to talk about real true crime, but you're not stopping him on the internet. He's now going to do crime fiction, having never read a book.
So how it works is
you are now Ian Banks, but interactive and online. Like, can anyone in chat tell me your favourite true crime novelist? Does anyone actually have a favourite true crime novelist? I bet there's a few of you that have read a few true crime novels and, you know, have a few names in your head that you think are good at the old true crime. What about John Grisham? And was that the 80s? Was that in the 80s? The 90s? Grisham was good though, wasn't he? I read a few of those. But like, it's not my favourite genre. I'm more of a fantasy fiction. Like, but, you know, I like a bit of sci-fi maybe. But true crime's a big genre, isn't it? None of you are saying it in chat, so I'm thinking you're not that educated. Where's Grumpy Grannis when you need her? She's read a book. She's definitely read a book. None of you are going in. Like, you could even got the opportunity to go on Google and just look at a book. You know, so you don't look stupid. Just get on the Beano. I got my... Paul Arnott gets his sex tips from the Beano. Paul Arnott gets his sex tips from the Beano. Enid Blyton counts. Well done. That does count. That does actually count. The Famous Five, The Secret Seven. That does count. Martina Cole. You see, there you go. There's someone. I can't tell you whether I like the books or not because I don't know who Martina Cole is, but I knew someone would have read a book. It's statistically likely that someone in our chat would have read a book. It's statistically likely, that's all. Love the Beano. Love your work. What you did with Roger the Dodger was really inspiring. I used to like the Beano, the Dandy, and then I was a bit of into, like, it's not American comics, but I was like into the idea of comics when I was like, you know, as a kid. So I also then went for the Beezer and the Topper as well, and the Whizzer and Chips. But they were not considered. I got the Beano and the Dandy, like, you know, I wanted that every week. I wanted to know what Desperate Dan was up to. But the Whizzer and Chips and the Beezer and the Topper, they were just like random buys. And then sometimes you'd see a bundle of comics in a shop or something, and you get a load of old ones. And then I had this massive collection of them, of all old British comics. And my mum sold them all at the tip junk shop, what do you call it, the car boot sale, in bundles. And that's kind of cool because then other people got them. But I'd saved them all up thinking I was collecting them, and then they all got sold. I you know, had not much say in it, so just is a thing that still hurts me to this day. So anyway, Daniel Steele. Oh, well, that's a point. What about what's her name? Nancy Drew. Nancy Drew. What about Nancy Drew?
Where's Nancy? Where do I want it? Where's Nancy anyway?
Where's Nancy Drew? What about Nancy Drew?
The blonde one, the dark one, and the butch one. I don't remember the names.
Did you ever also get Puzzle Kids? Did you ever get Puzzle Kids? I can't remember if that was the name of it, but I think it was called that. And they were two kids, and they would run around doing puzzles, and like they'd go into ancient Egypt or something. And like it was a comic, but it was all puzzles, so it'd take you longer. I used to like that one as well. That was a really fucking good, like, because it would take you longer. Like, you know, like a copy of the Beano. My granddad would come over once a week. Granddad and my nan, and it was my granddad brought the Beano with him and the Dandy, and like, so I'd sit with my like chocolate milk or whatever reading my Beano, but like the Beano wouldn't be like a, you know, all week read, would it? Like, it'd be over quite quick. But the puzzle books, you could be on that for the entire car journey. You know, you could be on that until you get your next puzzle book in. They were quite good. They sometimes made some quite thick ones as well. R.L. Stein, and it was like April Fools. The book was called April Fools. R.L. Stein, April Fools. Do you remember that? R.L. Stein, April Fools. I'm going to put 90s because I want to see the 90s cover. Point Horror. This was the book. This was the first book that I bought from the Point Horror range. April Fools. And I wasn't aware of what was happening because I was like, young reader. Point Horror, look, Point Horror. I was a young reader when I was into, like I said, like I was moving out of like fantasy fiction, the Hobbit sort of genre world, Terry Pratchett. I was looking for other books, but I was a young reader. I was like not looking for like I think at that time I tried reading things like Stephen King and other stuff, and I found them a bit you know, grown up, a bit heavy, some of them. So I was looking for something that was a bit more in my range, and like this point horror was like, just like, I don't know where I saw it or picked it up, but April Fools was my first point horror with R.L. Stine. It's not even R.L. Stine, it's Richie Tankersley Cusick, this one. But R.L. Stine used to write all these books, didn't they, in the point horror. Do you remember the point horror? Do you remember point horror? And you had all the books in the point horror, and you collected all the books in the point horror. I had this book. I had this book. I had this book. I had this book. I owned this book. This exact book. It's now £38 on Amazon. Second hand. I hope I've still got all my books. I mean, I have petitioned to keep all the books. When we do house moves, all of my stuff gets thrown away or goes to the tip or goes to the car boot. But I've petitioned to keep the books. But I had that exact book. It's now worth £38. Don't you? I mean, mine's a bit more battered, I suppose, but £38 off the Amazon. Mind you, I could just buy the book now if I really wanted it. Do you remember the point horror books? Some of them might be worth money now. Keep hold of them if you've got them. And you hadn't written on the interior like pages like property of. Do you remember when you used to like write property of on your books on the interior, like property of? This book belongs to Scott. If you are reading it and you are not Scott, please put this book back in Scott's room. Thank you. Bye. Goosebumps. I was all about the point horror for a bit. Went through a phase. There was point crime as well, wasn't there? Or point something else. Wasn't there? Was there point crime? Point crime as well, yeah. Point crime. This is the world Alan's in now. These are his competitors.
Especially in Patreon. We have a situation where we're going to write a true crime story. Remember the crime magazines of the 60s and 50s with their private eyes and stuff? Well,
no, Alan. Many people will not remember those. The majority of the audience these days will not remember the crime magazines of the 50s.
As the armchair detective. And I can solve any... I can solve any crime.
Right, apart from, and we can make a list of them. You didn't solve the Nicola Bulley case. You didn't solve... I don't know I'm going to bother. Do you know what I mean? But we could make a list of them. Apart from all of the crimes you've covered on your show, you didn't solve any of those crimes. Ever. Never have solved any crimes at all. If it's going to be like a sort of weighing scales of like some crimes that you've solved and the ones that you didn't, the scales are completely heavily tilted in favour of the crimes that you didn't solve, and there's none at all on the other scale. It's completely empty. You've solved no crimes ever. You've committed some, more than a few, I imagine. You've been caught for a few. There are some that you say, I've never done anything wrong that I've been caught for or never been arrested for. You've done some crimes, but you have never, ever solved any crimes ever. Never. None. Not one. Less than one. Not an integer with 0.0. Not a full integer. I mean, it's difficult to describe zero as an integer, isn't it? Now we're getting philosophical. You've none. Imagine you've eaten all the hot dogs, and how many have you got left? That's how many crimes you've solved. Not how many hot dogs you've eaten, but how many you've got left. None. You've got no hot dogs. You have solved no crimes. None. Not one crime. I can't believe I've heard him say that he's solving crimes. I can't believe... Like... I can't believe... Yeah, big ups, Greg. You got a gifted membership off Red Fan. Big ups. Thank Red Fan. Thank you, Red Fan. Thank you. I really do need to get your little pictures going for your memberships, don't I? That'll be a new thing to do. Something fun. Can we go back to the idea that Alan fucking said solve crimes? This one's sticking in my fucking pipe, and I'm not going to smoke it. You said you solve crimes?
60s and 50s with their private eyes and stuff.
Or that you can solve crimes, even. Not even whether you have. I'll accept you haven't, and that we can move on from it, but even the concept that you could is going to annoy me, because I don't think you could. Unless you are the person that committed the crime, and the way you solve it is by confessing.
As the armchair detective. And I can solve any... I can solve any crime, because it's fictional, right?
Oh, because it's fictional, with the caveat that he's allowed... What he means is, he's allowed to solve crimes if they're fictional. But real life crimes, Alan is now not allowed to solve because the YouTube thought police won't let him. Like, at this point, he needs a real serious psychiatric evaluation. Like, you could watch a video like this in Broadmoor and say, the patient does display some signs of serious delusion. We're going to have to keep them in a little longer. You know, like this could be a study group where Alan is the focus of the study by a serious psychologist, because he seems to have lost his mind.
Great if it's like that in real life, wouldn't it? I could solve everything, couldn't I? Anyway, so how it works is we have to come up.
Okay, no wait, I got this wrong because I was overdoing it. Let him speak. What he's saying is his character in the book can solve any crime. He's saying it's confusing for us because he introduced himself as Alan, the armchair detective, but now he's delving into the fictional world. It's like a sort of like a sea that we're floating above. Over here is reality. We've got our heads out the water, but every now and then we duck down under the water of like complete delusion. And he introduced himself as Alan, the armchair detective, and in his books he can solve all the crimes ever. But in the real world, it's not like that. Yeah, he admits.
Much murdering going on that I don't want to talk about it. So I'm going to talk about on-true crime, which is crime that never happened. That way I can't get in any trouble. I can't get taken to court. Everything's like not real people. So cheers. So how it works is, especially in Patreon, we have a situation where we're going to write a true crime story. Remember the crime magazines of the 60s and 50s with their private eyes and stuff? Well, I see myself as the armchair detective, and I can solve any I can solve any crime because it's fictional, right? Great if it's like that in real life, wouldn't it? I could solve everything, couldn't I? Anyway, so how it works is we have to come up with a few ideas, and then I would write a story about it. So it will always be starring the armchair detective. I'm the one reading it. I'm the one investigating it.
It's always going to be you. They're paying to be the focus of the story. Well, they're going to be the victim. What the fuck are you doing? They should be the focus of the story. They should be the main character. That's what you're selling them.
But we need a story. This is how it works, guys. First of all, we have to decide whether we're going to have... There's nearly always a murder, a kidnapping, or a mystery that has to be solved.
One of those three.
So let's make the first one a murder. Okay?
Oh, do you know how much I want to pay money to make him solve crimes that I have to specify what kind of crimes they are? Like a man who ran a restaurant on the seafront in Weston-super-Mare but refused to pay his taxes and refused to do his books, so got struck off and ended up pushing people in the river to suit his sadist appetite. We can call him Valen. Alan Vinnicombe. Can you put that in your story, please? Here's £8.50.
Do you want it to be a
What about a man who's so down on his luck he's taken to selling bags of heavily cut narcotics at his son's pub? We'll call him Balon. Balon Alancombe.
man or a woman?
No, call him Kiddicombe.
Murdered this time.
Do you want a man or a woman murdered? It's up to you. Toss of a coin. We're not listen. We're not suiting any of those. We're not suiting any of those LGBTQs around here. Just a man or a woman. I don't want any fucking conversation about it. This is Alan's show. You don't want any... It's a man or a woman. It's a binary choice. If you're non-binary, or if you identify as a fucking potato, out. Choose man or woman for the murdered. That's all we were going for.
And obviously the first one to say in chat, that's what I'm going to take, because it would be here all night.
So your £8.50 doesn't even get you priority on this? Alan, each individual person who pays you £8.50 should get the opportunity to write the story, shouldn't they? You should be doing, today's episode is for so-and-so. Not everyone in chat has a free-for-all. You're all patrons. This episode is a free-for-all. So his business plan is not going to be that for your £8.50 you get a story individually made. It's that you sign up to Patreon and then maybe once a month you all contribute to one mad story altogether, just shouting things out in chat. Am I getting this right? Because I've been missold. I thought for the £8.50, and the way he made it sound was very straightforward, right? You pay the money, you do all the story thing, then you come into Patreon and we fish it out more. So I'm assuming someone in chat in TikTok, which I didn't watch, he's always getting away with that. They disappear into the ether. But the TikToks, that's the sort of catch net. It's the drag net. You know, it's how he used to use YouTube to get people into a room and then offer them sign up to my thing afterwards, sign up to my Patreon, sign up to my thing. Like, you know, like it's like the dragnet to get people in. It's true crime is used as a sort of lure to get dozy housewives into your dragnet, so then you can sell them your service. That's the sort of grift system that Alan employed on YouTube. And I'm saying dozy housewives, and I've got no offense, nothing against housewives, obviously. Quite like the concept. Would quite like to be one, actually. But anyway, what I'm saying is that Alan's target audience, but this TikTok dragnet is slightly different, but it's the same thing, isn't it? The TikTok is the dragnet, and it's going to get somebody into the Patreon to pay £10 to then be able to be part of chat and say it first. Are we not really going to commit to doing this for individuals once a month like you said you were going to in your first out? Like, this is really shallow, isn't it, from Alan? Really shallow. He just wants them in TikTok this month. Anything, please get them in. Will we be doing this next month? No. Absolutely not. Cooking with Alan we should be seeing here. Cooking with Alan, that's what we should be seeing. There's another idea ripped off the top of the old noggin. Cooking with Alan. Where's Cooking with Alan? Show me Cooking with Alan. You're going to have to start listening to me, Alan. Otherwise, you are going right down the plug hole of your own. You know, you're listening to yourself and your own ideas, or whomever else is around you. It's circling the drain now. You're going to go right down the plug hole. This is your last chance, Alan, to listen to Scotty Hottie, to take his advice. You have to contact me on email, because I can't contact you because you'd say it's harassment. truebinaural@outlook.com. I want an email, Alan. It doesn't even have to come with an apology. All it has to say is, I'm ready to take the money. What have you got in store? What do you want to do? Give me an option.
Good luck with your channel, son. So, will it be a male or female? I love the crime magazines. Oh yeah, Misty Go. I used to love those crime magazines, especially the covers. Well, you've got your very own story now, Misty Go. You've got your very own story. You've been murdered in a 1950 true crime medal.
Tell you what, Alan, you'll be thinking now, why don't I do it without Scott? Do it with someone else. They can't offer you what I can offer you. None of them can. It's the oppositional quality between the two of us. It's Jeremy Clarkson having a row with the hamster. You know, it's the oppositional. You could be Jeremy Clarkson if you want, with your views and opinions. Like, it's the fact that we have that bit of back and forth. That's what's going to make it. That's what's going to get them all watching, and that's what's going to get you paid. And I'm not into paying a nonce, so there has to be a guarantee that at the end of it we do the big interview. I want the big interview. I want it set in stone. I want it in the contract. 2 hours, hard questions with Alan Vinnicombe.
Before you were born, you were murdered. Murder. Right, it's going to be a male. So, murder mystery. Murder. I need a name for the man, right? You can... You can use
Alan,
someone... You can use...
Alan, if you're an author and someone suggests that you write a murder mystery, do you need to lean into the keyboard and write the word murder? Or can you just remember that?
your husband.
This is like when you go into the pub and someone's like doing the songs in the pub, and they say, "Right, someone from the audience shout me a name," and you shout a name, and they say, "Someone from where do you work, sir? Where do you work?" And then they and what's your favourite kind of fruit? And they go, "Right, here's a song about Eddie. Eggs are his favourite fruit. I don't know why he said eggs. Eggs aren't a fruit, but he works on the train, so do." Like, you know, it's like that, isn't it?
Because it's not real. It's not real. It's 1950. I need a name of a man. Who are we going to murder?
Me? Put me.
It could be a fictional name. Obviously, the first one to put it up, that'd be the name I take.
Put me.
We need a man's name. It could be someone as a joke to your
Me.
family, or fictional name.
Someone as a joke to your family. If you've got a private joke within your family, someone you'd like to murder, throw them in here, and then you get the satisfaction of seeing their name, and everyone else doesn't know why. Why would you want to murder someone in your family?
So we're looking for a man's name.
What the fuck?
You'll get the hang of it. Those of you that've seen it on TikTok,
you'll get the hang of this. In chat, without me offering you the opportunity to quickly get the hang of this, can somebody write down a man's name that you would like to murder? But not in real life, in Minecraft, because you've got to be really careful here, actually. I don't want you to do this, actually. Change my mind all of a sudden. A man that you wouldn't like to murder, but you would like to see stub their toe. We'll change it quickly. Someone you would like to see stub their toe, because I think prompting people to write names of people they want to see murdered is a bit excessive. So Alan's going a bit of a funny way with that. But in our chat, without getting the hang of it, offering you the chance now, without getting the hang of it, to see if you can handle this, can you write the name of someone you would like to see stub their toe in chat? And I just want to see if you can get the hang of it without, because if you can't, then we can't do the true crime book anymore, if you can't handle it. Only one of you. You're taking, Steve's taking notes. You've all gone to sleep now, look.
I'm doing Steve.
Steve! He said Steve! He said Steve! Steve, and you said it! This is Spookis. This is Spookis.
Or fictional name.
This is Spookis.
So we're looking for a man's name. You'll get the hang of it. Those of you that've seen it on TikTok will understand what I'm doing. Steve. Right, so Steve. I need a surname, because if I don't put the surname, I'll have to make one up. Steve Smith.
So he's obviously got a template. This isn't just asking ChatGPT with prompts. This is a template on the internet. Write a true crime story with AI template, put in names. AI true crime plot generator. I mean, it's going to be one of these first ones that comes up. Sign up for free, start with AI. Now, it's going to be free, but he's not going to want to pay for it afterwards, so it's going to be something like this, isn't it? This looks a bit more complicated, though. Telling true crime stories name generator. That's a name generator. Like, he's going to have found like a chat GPT that does it all for you if you just put in the names, yeah? AI story generator. Story plot, characters, setting. Yeah, but it's not asking for surnames. Like, it's really weird, isn't it, that he specifically wants surnames, because, like, it feels like he's filling in a form.
Jones. I need a surname, so...
These are all the people that you want to see stub their toe.
Steve. And how old is Steve? What age is Steve, and what's his surname?
Well, this is a barrel of fun.
It's fun, isn't it? It's fun.
No.
We have to get the information together, see?
It's like a true crime thing where you have to just make things up. And you should have chosen someone that was funny, Alan. You should have put someone in your story for comedic purpose, like, or for some reason. Here's Steve. This is fun.
So I need an A. Steve McDonald.
Steve McDonald off Coronation Street.
Steve McDonald,
off
aged...
Coronation Street.
And now I need to know what he does for a job. Is he a teacher, salesman? What is he?
I would fucking love it if every time it turned out the same story, just with different names in the slots. Steve was the manager of a bar. Steve was a mechanic. The detective came back in and said, "Well done. We'd like to get you back on the force." That would be brilliant.
So he's 32. I wish I was 32. What's his job? What's Steve's job?
What's Steve's job?
I can only accept the first answer that comes on the screen, guys. Otherwise, it's going to be here until midnight.
But what if the first answer is like something weird and horrible that I'm not going to say out loud because it's just like, you know, what if the first answer is like something weird and horrible and you don't want to say it? Like, then you're going to have to accept it. You've set the rules. Maybe you can choose whatever answer you want.
Too late, Scouts. I've already got it's Steve McDonald, age 32. You've got to be quicker, Scouts. I do need a job, though, Scouts. I need to give a job for him quickly. Works on an oil rig, right. Hey, oil. I like that idea. Gives plenty of options.
Plenty of options on an oil rig.
How does he die?
Fell off. Fell
How
off.
does Steve meet his end?
Fell off.
Is he drowned?
Fell
Fallen
off.
the oil rig?
Fell off.
Is he
Off the
killed
oil.
in a mechanical accident? Is he offshore at the time when he's murdered?
This is a real barrel of laughs, isn't it? This is fun. Let's try and work out a grisly death for Steve.
How does he die?
Trying to work out how we can murder Steve now.
Nosy Nana says he dies in the garden. Okay.
Nosy Nana says he dies in the garden. Nosy Nana, he's on an oil rig. Oil rig. The sea. It's a big floating, it's a big on concrete in the sea. There's no garden. You haven't got time to fucking sit around doing the plants. They're on an oil rig. An oil rig. He's got to take that now. That's set in stone. It's the first one.
Got to accept the first thing.
He's got to accept the first thing. What a dummy. What a dummy.
So, murdered in his garden.
Garden.
Okay.
Garden.
What country?
What country? It's an oil rig. It's offshore.
You have to realise that once I've accepted a name, there's no point putting other names. We go on to the next thing. Once you see I've accepted something, you have to explain this, Kaka. Once I've already said the name, there's no point giving me names. Once I've always said he's an oil rigger, there's no point giving me other occupations.
For your £10 that you've paid to become a patron.
So, he's died in the garden. What country?
What country?
Any country you like.
Any country you like. Why don't you just lead by? Why don't you just say fucking off the North Sea? Because he's called Steve and he's died in the garden on the oil rig. Right, I'm going to start taking your suggestions in Chat GPT. Please write 500-word story. These are the themes and characters. Steve McDonald from... You can't see what I'm typing. I need you to see what I'm typing because it's better that way, isn't it? Because I'm typing it. Come on. Scotty Hottis. Let's see the typing. Down here at the bottom. Steve McDonald from Coronation Street works on an oil rig with a garden. He is murdered in this garden. Right, now I'm going to switch to your suggestions. I like cocaine overdose. He's murdered in this garden via an intravenous injection of narcotics, namely I don't know if you'll accept cocaine because, you know, it's bad words, isn't it? But cocaine. Actually, I'll just put Coca-Cola. Namely, Coca-Cola laced with bad chemicals. Let's leave off the bad drugs words. Let's just put that. Right, that's what we've got so far. Let's see where we go next. Back to Alan.
First country name would be the one I take.
Country, we need a country.
Doing it now. Well, you won't know, will you? You just pull up a country.
Giant cactus. Unlike Alan, I'll take all the different things as well. So we'll have giant cactus. Actually, I'll get this in a different window and we can do both at the same time. Giant cactus. I want a giant cactus is involved. And also, we want a country. No, we want a country. Oil rigs can be on land. Can they? Oh, could it be? Is it like a Chris Watts thing? Because what I was picturing was an oil rig like out at the sea. Like maybe that's because we don't have them in our country on land like that. Maybe you can have them anyway. Yeah. So maybe you can have a garden in an oil rig after all. Somalia. That's the first one I've seen. I can't take any more. So who's Bart? Bart. I'm putting them in. That's the first one I've seen. I can't take any more. Bart, you're in it now. Sorry. Your name came out in the chat, so it was the first one I saw. Now you're in it. Somalia is the location. Bart is involved. Let's carry on.
USA.
USA. Malta. That's a good suggestion.
You want a state? What state in the USA? So it's a big place, USA. What state? Texas. Okay. Texas it is. So he's murdered in his garden. Okay. Got that. We've got his name. Now...
Solving the case really bit by bit, aren't we? By just making it up.
We need a name.
This is Alan's like detective brain in gear now. Like he's got all these years of experience. Look.
I need two suspects. Like his wife, or his lover, or his workmate. I need two suspects.
Nicole Kessinger.
2 or 3 suspects. Who did this deed to him?
Who just come on, suspects in chat. Who's murdered Steve McDonald from Coronation Street on an oil rig with a garden? Who's done that? Only suspects. You can tell me whoever you want. I'm not guaranteeing that's who's done it. Just suspects. The Hamburglar.
Girlfriend, workmate. Whatever.
You're better than his chat. We're doing better over here than him. The Hamburglar. A neighbour. Open brackets. One of the neighbours. What's the name? The one that I like in Neighbours. What's the name? The fruity one. Oh, we'll put Lorraine. Lorraine.
His neighbour, his sister, and his girlfriend. Okay.
Android. Cropper. Are suspects. There's no point writing all the names in chat now. I've had the name. It doesn't matter now. Or if I see a good one, I will put her in.
Right. So I need a name for the neighbour.
Nancy.
You need a man. Okay, a man's name. It could be one of your relations, just for a bit of fun. Because it's only for fun. Let's have this man's name.
Steve.
The neighbour is a man.
Say Steve again. Steve. God, I wish I was in this chat to direct this. He's basically allowing the people in his chat to direct this, and it's just like Steve is the obvious answer. The main character is called Steve. Say Steve again. Make it Steve again.
Both names, like Joe Smith or whatever.
Steve McDonald again.
John Reynolds, I like that.
John Reynolds. He said, now the thing is, he said it can be the name of one of your relatives or someone. So am I to assume that Nosy Nana is married to John Reynolds? Like, how many people are in the chat here? I don't know who's in his chat original, but who's in there? like John Reynolds is someone close to them. Like, why are they doing this? Like, he's asked you to give it, and they've given him like the fucking surname. Can you give me their social security number as well? Because that's going to be the PIN number for their locker, the PIN identification number, you know, personal identification number for their locker. Like, can you maybe give me that? And can you give me their phone number as well? John Venables, that's bad.
Now, his sister's name.
His sister's name.
Obviously,
What?
his sister will have the same surname.
I've already got names for all my characters, Alan. We're already past that.
Think of someone you know.
Debbie.
It's more fun if you put someone in it you know, right?
We've got a Debbie in chat.
Sister's name.
This is dry, isn't it, Alan?
And his girlfriend's name.
And his girlfriend's.
Got 2 female names.
Nicole.
Sister and girlfriend.
Nicole. 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 Nicole.
Fun, isn't it?
Nicole. 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 Come on, Nicole. Please, somebody put a name, Alan. Nicole. Nicole, I'm committed to this now. Nicole. Nicole, the dog's going. Nicole.
Maggie May.
Thank God.
And Chelsea. Okay.
Chelsea, you're wearing a Chelsea shirt.
Like it. Chelsea's a lovely name.
Nicole Kessinger is not in the garden.
Sister
Come on,
Maggie.
come here. Go out and see if she's there.
Right. Right, that's it then.
That's it then.
Are you ready? That's the button. I've got the story lined up. These are the short stories you would see in crime magazines in the 1950s and 60s. In that genre, okay? This story is called The Eyes That Never Sleep. Love it, eh? Here we go.
He's obviously got a template that does it for him and he's using a website. Like, it's so fucking weird, isn't it? And creepy what he's doing at this point. So, Chapter 1, The Remote Garden. Whose story do you want first? Do you want mine or his? Ours or his? Steve McDonald was not the sort of man you'd expect to find working on an oil rig, let alone one with a garden. Yet here he was in the middle of the Indian Ocean, off the coast of Somalia, tending to his pride and joy, a sprawling garden set atop the Helios oil rig. It was a strange sight, a lush green oasis amidst the stark industrial landscape of pipes, machinery and oily grime. Steve had cultivated this patch of serenity over the years, bringing in soil, seeds and plants from all over the world. His favourite was a giant cactus, a monstrous thing with a thick spiny arm that reached toward the sky like a sentinel guarding his Eden. The oil rig was a unique operation, one of the few in the world that allowed its workers to maintain a semblance of normalcy amidst the grueling work. The garden was Steve's escape, a place where he could lose himself in the simple pleasures of watering, pruning and planting, but it was also where he met his end. God, this fucking thing goes on and on. It's still writing it. I told it to do 1,500 words and it's still writing it. I'm not reading all this. I'm not reading all this. Look. Look. This is it, the remote garden. Look at this. Look at how much it's written. It's still writing. Look, it's still going. Still writing. I imagine Alan's is going to be the same. But, like, surely he can't do... Like, look at the size of it. I'm not writing this. I'll post it in a comment. I'll post it on a community post, and you can have it on a community post if you want it, because I'm not reading this. Look at the length of it. Big ups NJ Carroll. Yes, read it. Not right now. We'll do Alan first. Dixon, it's 10 o'clock at night. We'll do Alan first. I'm getting a bit of a headache. There's a possibility I could read it, maybe at the end, but I'm not reading this now. I will post it as a comment in the community post or whatever. I'll post it on the community post so you'll have access to it on the channel if you're desperate. Like, I might even make it as a little short video, but I'm not... Like, I can't read this now. Look at it. Look at it. It's an essay. It's Alan's show.
You'll get used to it as time goes on. This is episode 1. I'll also be doing it on TikTok as well. But it's better on here because we've got more time.
I need to listen. I need to start watching his TikToks in the daytime, don't I? I need to like have his TikTok open just in case. Make sure I record them. Fucking hell.
The armchair detective always solves it. That's one thing.
Ask it to summarise it. You want to know who died and how? Well, it's all to be revealed. But that's a good idea, actually. It's a good idea. Please give me a 300-word summary of the story. How many words is 300 words? Look, it's still writing. 300 words, I said. Steve McDonald, a worker on an oil rig off the coast of Somalia, is found dead in the garden he meticulously maintains atop the rig. His body is discovered by Bart, a fellow worker slumped against a giant cactus, with a small puncture wound on his arm and an empty Coca-Cola bottle in his hand. The unusual circumstances raise suspicions of foul play, especially since Steve was known to avoid Coca-Cola. Private Detective Alan Vinnicombe, a bumbling but determined investigator, is brought in to solve the case. Despite his questionable skills, Alan begins to unravel the mystery by interviewing the rig's crew, including the Rain, the cook, Roy Cropper, and a shady character named the Hamburglar. Suspicion initially falls on several of them, but each denies involvement. The breakthrough comes when an autopsy reveals that Steve was injected with a lethal chemical cocktail, cleverly disguised within the Coca-Cola. Further investigation leads Alan to discover that Steve had been experimenting with chemicals to enhance plant growth, particularly with his giant cactus. However, someone had swapped his growth serum with a deadly mixture. Alan's suspicion falls on Bart, who ultimately confesses to the crime. Bad news for you, Bart. Bart admits to tampering with Steve's chemicals out of jealousy and frustration, intending only to scare him, not to kill him. With Bart's confession, the case is closed. The oil rig's garden is dismantled, but the giant cactus remains as a grim reminder of the betrayal that led to Steve's tragic death. It's actually not a bad story. You didn't see that coming anyway.
He solves it.
Big ups, Big Chris. Have you missed much? Alan is about to, like the finale of tonight's stream, he's been promoting it, advertising it, and now we're getting to the nuts and bolts, is that he's on Patreon charging them £10 a pop for the patron. He's got one new person apparently, which I don't believe, and they are giving him names and he's putting them into ChatGPT, and he's going to do a detective story and he's going to read it out. If you can believe that.
The eyes that never sleep. In the heart of Texas, where the oil rigs dot the landscape like metal giants, and the sun beats down hard on the baked earth.
And of course,
the small town of
he is now no longer dyslexic.
Jasper was known for being a close-knit community, but not known for crime. That all changed.
His daughter. Have you seen his daughter? I've seen a recent picture of his daughter. Bloody hell. She looked quite a lot like Alan.
Texas evening, when Steve McDonald, a 32-year-old,
but with massive tits. With massive tits, though. Anyway, look. Oh, he's taking it too far. He should put them on a Facebook.
Texas, where the oil rigs dot the landscape like metal giants, and the sun beats down hard on the baked earth. The small town of Jasper was known for being a close-knit community, but not known for crime.
That's what it said in your last story. They were a close-knit community. It's almost like this template is going to turn out a very similar story every time, just with different names and places. Please, I would fucking love it if this told the same story with the same, like a mechanic. Well, obviously it's not a mechanic, but you know what I mean? The same themes, just the different names. I would love it if that happened, because then the shelf life of this is it's already over, because the next story will be the same and so will the next. I assume the artificial intelligence is going to be sophisticated enough to just at least mix it up enough. But like, come on.
To the sweltering suburban Texas evening, when Steve McDonald, a 32-year-old oil worker,
from Coronation Street,
was found dead in his own backyard.
from Coronation Street.
Stop laughing.
Why are you
The
laughing?
cause of death was no mystery.
They weren't laughing, you laughed.
Steve had been shot when Steve McDonald, a 32-year-old oil worker, was found dead in his own backyard. Stop laughing.
What the fuck was that? We say this about him when he does the real crimes. When he, like, reports on them on the internet. When he does the real crimes, he laughs. He's a sadist. I mean, when he does real crimes, he laughs. The concept of Steve being dead in his backyard raised a tee-hee-hee, this is fun, from Alan. What? It was the most inappropriate emotional response to the thing he read I've possibly ever seen by a human.
That all changed in a sweltering southern Texas evening when Steve McDonald, a 32-year-old oil worker, was found dead in his own backyard. Stop laughing. The cause of death was no mystery.
It wasn't a mystery.
Steve had been shot at close range. But who pulled the trigger?
Don't know.
That was the puzzle that needed solving.
The Hamburglar, probably.
The local sheriff, a grizzled veteran named Hank Lawson, quickly realised his case was beyond his usual fare. He used to bar fights and petty thefts.
And I'm making a bit of stuff up there. So Hank Lawson's been involved now. There's the name. That's the name they forwarded. A family member they might not even like. But Hank Lawson is now in the... So there's your money. That's your money.
With no immediate witnesses and lack of clear evidence, the investigation hit a wall. That's when he decided to call in a man who had a reputation for seeing things others have missed.
Alan.
A man who rarely left his home, but could unravel mysteries from the same position. He used to analyse surveillance footage.
No night, cheeky chops. Alan, you're not a surveillance footage analyst expert. You're a peeping Tom.
Alan Vinnicombe, the armchair detective, was his name. AD, as he likes to be called, a man in his 60s,
70s,
had once been a top investigator in the big city. After retiring from active duty due to a knee injury,
knee.
How did they know that?
How did they know that? How did they know that? Watch this, Alan. This will blow your mind. This will blow your fucking mind, right? Oh wait, that's caseboard. That's not what I wanted. Whoops. OpenAI, yeah. Message ChatGPT. Please describe the online content of Alan Vinnicombe, the armchair detective, and his personality include reference to his location, it's got it wrong. It's got it wrong. It says he lives in Surrey, but it's got Britain. Online persona known for his detailed analysis and commentary on unsolved crimes, mysteries and criminal investigations. Operating from his home in Surrey, it says UK, Alan Vinnicombe presents himself as a passionate amateur sleuth with a deep interest in true crime. His content typically includes thorough reviews of cold cases. They're getting it wrong, but they're getting in the right ballpark. Like, Alan, you've put fucking loads of stuff about yourself on the internet and you're using an artificial intelligence dragnet to provide the story. So if you've put your own name in there and you've done videos about your knee, and like you've done videos about your knee and Patreon posts about your knee, and we've done videos about your knee, then the artificial intelligence might dragnet that information out. What you're possibly doing here, Alan, by filling in your personal details into forms this is how thick Alan is, yeah? He's opening himself up to cybercrime. Because does he know who runs the website? No. No, not really. Does he know that if he puts in all personal details and information that he's not adding to the store of information about Alan Vinnicombe online held by whomever that can use it to dragnet through and get more information? Like, all they need is like one little bit here, one little bit there. Is he this stupid that he's busily writing all his details and his fantasies into an artificial intelligence online and allowing them to just correlate his data? Like, he's a bit of an expert on this sort of stuff, isn't he? Like, he's getting himself open. Like, I bet this website isn't even reputable. I bet it's just like some nonsense on the internet, and he doesn't know who's made it and where it goes to. And like, do you know what I mean? I bet he's like opening himself up to all sorts of cyber crimes. I bet he gets loads of phone calls on his phone from like, we're trying to, like, hello, this is the call service for call centre for so and so, and then he's like, how'd you get my number? And he's been typing it into websites like this.
He moved to Jasper, where he lived a modest life in a modest house, but it was filled with screens and monitors. His expertise at analysing CCTV footage and his sharp mind for detail has solved more than a few tough cases in the area, all from the comfort of his living room. When Sheriff Lawson called him, AD was already in his element, surrounded by screens displaying footage of various parts of town. He had a cup of coffee in his hand and was determined to solve this case. As he looked into the sheriff's eyes and listened to the details of the case, Steve McDonald found dead in his garden.
Fuck Steve McDonald. Look, Alan, you wish you were surrounded by screens. Alan, you wish you were surrounded by screens, yeah? Look at my setup. Alan, check out my setup, look. That's the OBS, that's screen 1 on the telly. Then this is my big wide screen in the middle. There's you. There's our stream that we're doing. I'm pausing and watching you. That's my other window with my other video that I could play for one. And over here, this is the music that we're listening to on another window. There's chat. Look at all my screens, look. It's like all the screens, Alan. Like, look at all those screens. Look at my screens. And up there's artwork on the wall. Look, there's the light shining out. Check it out, Alan. All the screens. Screens ahoy. You like screens? Do you like that? How do you like them screens? Stick that in your pipe and there's Shannon. Have you seen Shannon Matthews? Stick that in your pipe and fucking... I'm on YouTube and I've got loads of screens and I'm ridiculing you, Alan. And this happened, Alan. All of this is happening now. Me doing this now, not just because we stole one video and it wasn't even your video on Channel 5, but because you were mean and nasty. You made like trouble for me on the internet. I was a small channel. I had like 1,000 subscribers. They used to say, "Oh, you've only got a small number of subscribers." Like, I grew, but Alan, like, you were horrible to me, and you would have been mean to all the other people continuing. And when I looked into it, you'd been mean to loads more people. You were a bad person. You running around the streets of YouTube, you ran into Chuffer. You ran into Chuffer Town. You didn't know you were running into you ran into Chuffer Town. But big Alan think he's the big Chuffer. You're not the big Chuffer. You're on Rumble grifting people to go through your TikTok that you're going to write them a story on an artificial intelligence website that you've gone on the internet. Like, you're a con man and a grifter, and this is the worst one yet. This makes you look like such a dork, like such an like dork's the wrong word. Like, it makes you look like such a nasty, seedy, shameless, desperate grifter. And all the people that are put off so far, like, this isn't going to like switch anyone on. This is going to put people even more off. Like, people like Nancy or whomever, if they were thinking, "Oh, should I drop by and give Alan £500?" they'd think, "Oh no, look what he's become. Look what he's become." Like, if they even existed. Like, you're much better off saying about gin. Big ups, Angelina. You're much better off, Alan, drinking a couple of gins and chit-chatting about world events and the TV and nice stuff, and like, you know, like that time you did Torchy the Battery Boy. That's your best ever stream, as far as I've seen. And if you want ideas, you've got to come to the Chuffer Man.
Lawson said over the phone. We've got 3 potential suspects. His neighbour, John Reynolds, his sister, Maggie May, and his girlfriend, Chelsea Daniels. I'm stumped.
Chelsea Daniels, like Stormy Daniels, the porn star, yeah?
AD, there's no clear motive. The alibis, to be honest, is shaky. Send me what you've got, AD said.
Sunny days. How's the blood pressure? I forgot. He went to the hospital and he was going to give an update. No update. Where's the update? Alan, where's the update? You had us all worried. Violence against women and girls, why it's growing, copy and paste from someone else. New direction, true crime. AD's on Twitter. Patrons, where's the update about you going to hospital? Obsessed stalkers and tarot scammers. Obsessed stalkers and tarot scammers. That was an interesting watch. Where's the update about the hospital? AD stories with you in them. I think we're watching that now. No, we're watching this one tonight, 9 PM live. AD write an untrue true crime story yourself. Like, look, what happened to you and your blood pressure? Isn't it going to be addressed in this episode? Maybe this is weird. Actually, you've raised a really good point. I took it for serious that he was actually, you know, suffering the high blood pressure. But now I'm guessing that at hospital, if he even went, they probably just said to him, "You're having a panic attack. Go home." And like, he doesn't want to admit that on the old internet.
I'll start with the footage from around Steve's place. Someone always leaves a trace. Hank, you just have to know where to look. Within an hour, AD was reviewing the footage from the night of the murder. Steve's property was equipped with a couple of security cameras, and there's also street cameras nearby.
This is very similar to the last story, isn't it?
As he fast forwarded through the hours leading up to the crime, he noted the comings and goings of the suspects.
It's the
There
same.
were 3 suspects. John Reynolds, the neighbour, who had been seen on the footage returning home from work at around 6 PM. His truck was parked in the driveway, and there was no further movement from his property until the time of death. Which was around 9 PM. Maggie May, Steve's sister. Now, Maggie had visited Steve earlier that evening. The footage showed her leaving the house at 7:30 on the doorbell cam. She seemed agitated. But nothing about her departure suggested that she had returned. Chelsea Daniels, Steve's girlfriend, was the last person to see him alive. According to her statement, the footage showed her arriving at Steve's house around 8 PM and leaving about 45 minutes later.
Do's and don'ts.
She appeared upset, wiping tears from her eyes as she got into the car. Had there been a row?
Fact.
As AD analysed the footage,
It said Collins and he put his name in AD. Detract yourself now, Alan. Detract yourself. Come on. You have the headphones. Sure, you have it. You do it. I can't do it anymore. You read your own name wrong. Hey, what are we even doing now? What are we even doing? What has become my life? What are we even doing now, Alan? We should... What are we even doing now? What are we even doing? Collins, as Collins AD. Perfect.
Wiping tears from her eyes.
Why didn't you put your name in?
She got into the car. Had there been a row? As Collins, as AD, analysed the footage, he noticed something odd. The camera facing Steve's garden, where the murder took place, showed Chelsea leaving. But a subtle flash of movement at the edge of the frame, just before the camera switched off.
Same.
There's a delay for 5 seconds.
Fact.
Someone had tampered with the camera,
Do's
but
and
not
don'ts.
before it captured a vital clue.
Bang.
The clue.
Do's and don'ts.
AD rewound the footage, pausing on the last clear frame before the camera went dark. He zoomed in on the image.
I never went without a real drink in all my time in the Rovers.
Like AD does, enhancing it until you could see what caught his attention.
Look at talking of enhanced images, Alan. Look at you on the internet with your blurred out background with your weird paintings. Because obviously people have commented, what are these weird paintings? And your strange choice of Chelsea shirt and cap. Like your filters that have turned you into Max Headroom. You look like a latex mask. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
There was a shadow.
Shadow.
A figure moving.
Same.
Stepping towards Steve's garden from the direction of John Reynolds' house. The figure's posture was tense. And he seemed to be holding something in their hand. It wasn't much, but it was enough. All he had to do now was compare the timestamps on the CCTV footage. The camera cut out at 8:55 p.m.
This is a really
According to the
boring
Price
story.
report,
Like, this story's really boring, isn't it? Like, it's like really boring. It's just about numbers and times. Like, Steve was looking at footage and Steve saw this and Steve did this and then Steve saw this and then he saw that and then like, it's not even Steve, is it? But like, you know, it's like, this is just like, and isn't it weird the way it's going with the shadows and the what stuff? Like, I do wonder whether it's doing this because he's prompted it in the past. And like it's drawing from like his previous prompts, like do me a story about Alan Vinnicombe finding the shadows. Do me a story about Alan Vinnicombe. Tell me about how good Alan Vinnicombe's from finding the shadows, and then it's like got all that in its like memory banks. Or whether it's trawling the internet for mention of Alan Vinnicombe. Well, he said Collins. I don't think he even put Alan Vinnicombe in. So how did it get his knee? You know, this is all a bit weird. Like it makes me wonder whether it's even like. Imagine you think you're talking to artificial intelligence on the internet, and what you're actually talking to is a sophisticated artificial intelligence that's scraping all your info and like getting all your data, like in order to fuck you over. Like Alan's so dumb that he could be he could be talking to just like someone at the other end of a computer who's using ChatGPT to con him into thinking that he's using ChatGPT. It's just so weird the way it like is hitting upon certain aspects of his own personal information. Isn't it? Like that would make me worry and stop using the app immediately if it came out with things about his knee. And what was this last one?
Steve was shot minutes later.
The shadows and the truck stuff, wasn't it? And that's available on the internet, that sort of information, and like artificial intelligence could like I said, like scrape the internet for it and find it, couldn't it?
Tampering was a crude effect.
Just out of interest, I wonder how long it's going to take for the police to watch his stuff about the race hate and whether he's going to get a knock at the door before Christmas, because I don't want him to feel alarmed and distressed. But if I was him, I would call the police and tell them what I'd done and show them all the videos just in case. Like, you might want to get ahead of that. But then again, I'm not him and I didn't do loads of videos of loads of race hate, so...
An attempt to cover up tracks, but it was sloppy work, as we've seen before in other cases. AD called Sheriff Lawson. Hank, I've got something. It's not definitive, but it's enough to bring Reynolds in for questioning. He was in Steve's garden at the time of the murder.
Well, it was him then.
And someone tried to disable the camera just before the shot was fired.
It'll be him.
A confession. Reynolds was brought in, and under pressure of evidence and questioning, he eventually...
Keep streamists. Keep the streamists runnis. 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 We're back. He's doing the same. The story's the same. The story's the same as the last story.
I did...
It went... Armchair detective looks at CCTV, sees something, alerts the police go and arrest the man, and then it turns out that there's another ulterior motive that we didn't know about, and that's the twist at the end. It's the same story.
And under pressure of evidence and questioning, he eventually broke down. He confessed to the murder, but the motive wasn't what anybody expected. I didn't mean it to happen, Reynolds murmured, his voice trembling. Stephen found out about me and Chelsea. She was going to leave him for me, but she got cold feet and ran. She told Steve everything that night, and I panicked. And I went over to confront him. Things got out of hand. He was angry.
This is weird, isn't it? Because it's like a really bare bones of a true crime story that has no, like, because it's not real people, and because, like, if you're reading a book, then they craft the characters, you know, they introduce them, you get used to them, like, you learn about them, you feel invested in their stories, things are happening, like, you know, a really good book can do that. But here we haven't done that. We've just said, it's Steve, and then, like, so Steve's dead, and now Steve's, like, and this is why he did it. And, like, it's just, like, so facile that there's no way of getting into it emotionally in any way. Like, it's not like we're watching a Netflix documentary. It's like we're watching an old man describe a Netflix documentary. Like, this is just the worst kind of content I've ever seen him do. Like, with true crime stuff, the reason it takes people's attention is because it's true, isn't it? And, like, they're real people and real stories. So you're like, oh my God, this actually happened, and look at the, and wow, and like the evidence. And like here, there's none of that. There's none of it. It's not a very good fiction. It's a really, really basic fiction. Like, we're now saying that Alan's going to enter into the world of crime fiction at his age with his capabilities, and he thinks he's going to make a go of it. We're talking about the world of crime fiction, and this is his attempt. He's got more chance of actually playing for Chelsea than making this a goer.
Are ready to fight me. I just didn't mean to pull the trigger. It turned out that Chelsea had been having an affair with Reynolds. And when Steve discovered the truth, because while he was away on the oil rigs, this was going on a lot. Because Chelsea had keys to the house, and she used to sneak in Reynolds' house.
Making this bit up. That's a detail he added from his own memory, I'm going to say, rather than like making it up in a way, like, because it's a weird detail to add, and I don't think that was in the chat GPT.
And they fell in love.
Keys to the house, sneaking round. Keys to the house, sneaking round. I wonder who he was doing that with. I wonder who that was happening with during a marriage, because he's got 2 failed marriages.
It's about what to do about it. They never planned the murder. But it did lead to a confrontation at that house in the night. It was a confrontation brought on by the affair. No one planned the murder, it just happened. Really, it ended in tragedy. A lot of Americans have guns, especially in Texas. Now, Reynolds had tried to cover his tracks by disabling the camera, but Colin's sharp eye and attention to detail had noticed it, and AD also saw it. AD's very clever.
He forgot again, and he read the name of the man, the Collins man, and he added himself in. You're not that clever then, are you, Alan? Your mind isn't that sharp, because check it out. You forgot that you are supposed to be the detective in the story, and you are substituting the name Colin or Collins for Alan. Fucking hell.
Brought on by the affair.
Big ups, Joe Boy. How you doing? Shouts out to Supreme Beds. If you need a bed, If you fancy getting yourself a new bed, is this still going? Are we still doing this? It's Supreme Beds in the north. I don't want to like dox you or anything, but like the northwest of the UK. You know, you want to get on the old internet, get on Facebook. Shouts out Supreme Beds.
It just happened. Really, it ended in tragedy. A lot of Americans have guns, especially in Texas. Now, Reynolds had tried to cover his tracks by disabling the camera, but Colin's sharp eye and attention to detail had noticed it. An AD also saw it.
An AD also saw it. He makes up without missing a beat. Oh my God, Alan, you're a prat. You're a proper Burke, aren't you? You're a proper prat. And you're a bad man who sang with kids on Smule, aren't you, as well? So, like, grifting off all that. Like, it's not just like, you know, there's extra special levels. Those of us that have known it, you know, that are in here, most of you know it. Alan's a special kind of bad person, isn't he? Like, he's a bit of a special case. Fucking hell, Alan. Like, why didn't you just, like, go... Oh, sorry, not Colin. Alan. It's me again. Why'd you pretend? Why'd you lie? Why'd you fake it all the time? That's why you're in this trouble. That's one of your main problems, Alan. Using artificial intelligence to write stories on the internet and read them out as if it's yours. Like, it's all the lies. It's all the pretending. You have to fess up to who you really are. You have to stand up and be yourself. And if it's good enough, it's good enough. And if it's not, obviously it's not. But, like, you have to take that L sometimes, Alan. You have to be who you are. You have to accept it and, like, stop all this faking. Stop all this shit faking. That's why, and again,
bang,
when I talk about his best stream, he probably thinks I just want to encourage him to do something stupid so I have a laugh. But, like, he's doing stupid things and I'm having a laugh. Like, he's doing more stupid things than I could imagine. I couldn't have contrived this. He's managed to make the most stupid thing I've ever seen with his own imagination. But when I'm talking about him going back to this...
Torchy, Torchy. I remember Torchy when I was a little tiny boy. I used to love Torchy. Torchy the battery boy.
You know, that's marginally better than this.
There is no child porn on the internet. I hate to warn you that. There is no child porn on the internet. I checked. AD. There is no child porn on the internet. I hate to warn you that. There is no child porn on the internet. I checked.
So have a bit of this. That was your best ever stream, Alan. Get a glass of gin, reminisce about the old times with the people in your chat that remember it. Have a nice time. What's this? What are you even doing? John Gasham. That's a pun on John Grisham. I'm trying to think of puns on crime authors and it's not easy. So give me a break here.
Now, Reynolds had tried to cover his tracks by disabling the camera, but Colin's sharp eye and attention to detail had noticed it. An AD also saw it.
Well, I saw that.
AD's very clever at seeing shadows on CCTV footage, and he spotted just for that fraction of a second.
Making it all up now.
Reynolds is now in jail. Reynolds is behind bars. Justice was served. Steve's tragic death was mourned by the town. But the truth had to come out, thanks to the unrelenting gaze of the armchair detective.
I'll give you some unrelenting gaze. Where's Capital K when you need him? I'll give you some unrelenting gaze. I've got a few friends who are unrelenting gays.
After this, AD returned to his quiet life. His screens filled with ordinary scenes from Jasper's streets. As usual, AD was always ready to catch the next shadow that moved where it shouldn't.
Obviously, my comment about unrelenting gaze was positive. I think unrelenting gaze is fine. I'm happy with people being unrelenting gaze.
Wow. Now, I just...
Wow.
I can't believe how similar it is to another story you all know. That's like...
You mean the Chris Watts stuff? Or do you mean the last story that it churned out for you? Because they're both very similar. It's because you put in a load of prompts about you being a CCTV analyst, and what it's probably done is it's like the way it's Alan Vinnicomized it. It's probably found something that's been written by him. Maybe it's his book. Maybe it's the Amazon book. You know, maybe it's the plot from that or something. Like they found some document on the internet the artificial intelligence has, and it's just fucking sandwiched it in for you. And he loves it because he thinks he's some special person, and the artificial intelligence has clocked him for being the one that solved the Chris Watts case. It's not that that's the truth, Alan. This is your delusional la-la land that you've pumped out onto the internet so much that artificial intelligence is able to find it when it scrapes.
Obviously, I'm using AI,
Fucking
artificial
hell.
intelligence to help me with the story.
Obviously. Because you can't spell or write or talk or think. So obviously you're using artificial intelligence. You reveal now, at the end of it all, after taking their money.
Is that spooky or not?
Spooky? It's...
Spooky. AD, the man who catches the shadows.
You would have put all the prompts in yourself, most likely.
So
and
that's
it
how it
didn't
works.
say AD, it said his name was Colin.
Yes, guys, that's how it works. That's how it works. I'm not going to do much more tonight. I just want
And it was the same story as the last one.
to try it out tonight, but I will do it at least 3 nights a week. All right?
3 nights a week of this shit. And he thinks it's easy money because he doesn't have to do any work, any research. He just turns up, types the names into the computer, and then reads it out. Big ups Mellow Maggot, thanks to the 149. Do you want a special button? Do you want a special button? I'll get you a special button. I got a button. I got a button. How about this?
There's facts, there's reality, and then there's your bullshit world. There's too many fucking idiots. I can say whatever the fuck I want, and you like it. Or you shut the fuck up.
Super chuffer, super chuffer, super chuffer.
Thank you very much for the super chat, Mellow Maggot. The concept here is that Alan thinks that it's easy work to just get the AI to do it for him, right? That's the premise. But turning up 3 times a week for the extra £10 for one new person in Patreon, like there's nothing here. It's not going to drive the business forward. It's going to put people off, and you're going to be beholden now because you've said 3 times a week. Imagine you watch how quickly this is going to die. Like you're beholden to do this 3 times a week. If it gets boring, if it gets shit, what then? Like what if the story repeats every time like it's going to? You're in trouble. What if people don't want to see it? You've now put a workload on of a part-time job. Even though ChatGPT does the story, you have to go on the screen and read it out and do it. Okay, it's only been half an hour tonight. You're better off just talking about the old days with a cup of tea. Really, you are.
Right, so please try. I mean, there's only 13 of you here.
I've just had a lovely cup of tea and a Bakewell tart. I've just had a lovely cup of tea and a Bakewell tart. I've just had a lovely cup of tea and a Bakewell tart. I've just had a lovely cup of tea and a Bakewell tart. I've just had a lovely cup of tea and a Bakewell tart. I've just had a lovely cup of tea and a Bakewell tart.
Where's the fucking blonde whore with the fucking tits and a fishnet and a fishnet and a fishnet and a fish? Where's that fucking blonde cunt whore? Where?
Patrons to know it's on. Well, if you're watching this tomorrow, patrons, I hope you enjoyed it, but I'd like you to do it, come in when we're live. I know you like to watch it tomorrow. I know it's the time.
It's a live show, isn't it, Alan? So now you've done another thing. So the patrons that before thought they could just pay money and get true crime content on their Patreon channel from a man who did research true crime content are now down to paying money to not be part of an interactive thing where they basically have to fight in chat to say a name so that it can be factored into your delusional fantasy of what life could be like if you weren't a piece of shit. And then the computer will spit that delusional fantasy back out to you, and you can read it and see. Every time it's going to be about how you're some sort of CCTV pervert who helps the police solving crimes. Do you know what it reminds me of? Okay, it really reminds me of this. Is I did the 11 plus when I was younger. I passed it and I went to a grammar school. It's one of them things. And during that process, I had to write an exam, and I also had to write a story. And I remember this story that I wrote for the 11 plus. It was really childish, very short. It was about. I was being judged on, I suppose, the quality of my character in some way, because the story. Now I think about it, it did include questions about it was like, if your father took you to work, what would your day's work be like, or something like that. And obviously my dad's a roofer, so I told a story about what it'd be like, if I went to work with my dad as a roofer. I think it was more to see about your cognitive skills and your story writing and your, how you would write the words, and you know what I mean? There's more things to grade on than just the content of the story, the spelling, punctuation, and grammar, and all that. But obviously, it got me through. But I wrote, if I'd have took that story now and read it out to you now, it would seem really childish and facile. It was like an 11-year-old's writing, yeah. And that's what this is. It's no better than a 10-year-old writing what I did on my holidays. Do me a story, put daddy's name in it, put mommy's name in it. Yeah, say that I solved the case by looking at the CCTV. Yeah, and then the police solved the crime, and everyone was sad, and it turned out they'd been having an affair. The end. It's just very, very facile. And if he thinks he's going to do that 3 times a week and make a go of it on the internet, then it's just how much entertainment are we even going to have at our end, laughing at what ChatGPT churns out over and over again? Not much, but the added level of the ludicrousness of his delusion. That part of it, that really makes it for me, I suppose. So I am looking forward to Alan's adventures in AI. They can continue, as far as I'm concerned, unabated. I don't want him on TikTok. I think that's a place for younger people, and him having his space there is just too creepy. So I think he should take himself off that. But yeah, we need predictions in chat. How long do you think this will last? I've probably already asked you, haven't I? But how long do you think this will last? What's your prediction on how many times a week do you think his own audience will turn up to hear a story written by artificial intelligence that is very similar to the last one, but just the names are changed? And they never get any deeper than that. They're not going to get any more extensive. It's not like we're doing a 6-parter with twists and turns, and the story is always, there's been a murder. Alan looked at the CCTV, he saw a shadow, that led to the conclusion, which is this is who the murderer is, and the murderer comes clean and gives you a different story. Oh, it turned out this is why. Those 5 chapters, every day, 3 days a week. How often is this going to keep going? 2 weeks, do you think? I'm wondering, are we getting to the end of the month? We're at 27th of the month now. So is this not one of his patron? If you sign up to his patron, and this is a warning, I don't think anyone hearing this needs this warning, but if you sign up to his patron now, you get billed today, and then you get billed on the 1st of the month, next month. And you're like, hang on, why am I paying twice for patron? Oh, that's 2 months. It's just, I signed up the first month late, right at the end of the month, and then the next one's billed at the 1st of the month, and then the next one will be the 1st of the month. So I'll cancel this now, but he's had double. That's what it is. He'll get to tomorrow, the next day or whatever it is. How many days in what are we in August? 30 days in September. 30, he'll get to the end of the month, and he will then think, well, I've had the money that I've had from this grift. What now? And this feels like it is that, doesn't it? It feels like it's a sort of desperate grift for the end of the month. It's so weird. It's so weird. I've given him so many options and good ideas. Get off TikTok, you fucking weirdo. That's not going to help you. It's not going to provide any people filtering in. It's going to make life worse and worse for you. Stay off TikTok. There's tip number 1. Focus on the Rumble. Focus on that. And focus initially. Doesn't matter about the number of views. Doesn't matter about any of that. You've got a core audience who have basically abandoned you. If you're going to keep any of them at this point, just be your nice, natural, normal self with a cup of tea, a couple of episodes about reminiscing over the old days. Of course, we can't talk about true crime, and there's all sorts of stuff going on in the world, but you don't have to present a show or nothing. Just be Alan a little bit, get them back on side a little bit, and we'll talk about where we can go with the content from there. But this is just fucking awful. I'll tell you what, I think the mods, I mean, Kaka was mentioned today. I thought she'd bailed. I think maybe the best mods have gone. I think maybe the brightest minds have left. And I think this is between them. Like, you know, I talk about the shit room a lot. Like, Alan's wading around in the shit room, and the people that are with him are making it worse. They continue to defecate. Like, quit would be a good thing. Quit all of this, yeah. That is the final, you know, objective. Will he quit when he's dead, or will he just actually quit, you know? But the football thing is a good idea, but it only works if I'm on it. Any content that he really wants to go forward to have any, like, hope at this stage, I'm his only life raft. Because, like, him and me having a bit of a back and forth, people will watch that. Him doing this, no one's going to watch it. The only reason people are watching this now is because I'm critiquing it. So, like, it's not going to be that Alan on his own can get himself out of this. He's got himself into this. Not very happy, is he? Not very happy.
Thing, time shifting. But it's much more fun with more of you in chat. So next time I do it, I'll put it in Patreon like hours before, and you'll get a notification. AG's going live.
And everyone will turn up depending on whether they're asleep or not in America.
Live with the next on true crime story.
Oh, don't wait.
Please watch live.
Mind you, I don't care to watch live anymore. Not even his main detractor cares to watch live anymore. Yeah, please watch live, please, or I'll cry, or I have been crying. The idea that he might go live late was going to trouble me, because we used to follow him, and he would sometimes make his streams late. Like, he'd start at 10 or 11 o'clock, and he'd say, this is for the Americans, because the Americans are finding it hard to get in on the streams. But actually it was because he was asleep all day. But, like, God help us if he goes back to streaming at 1 o'clock for the Americans, you know? Or God help him.
Right? Watch out for the next on true live story. You can be in it. You can put any names in you want. There'll be family. They're not really going to be murdered, and they're not going to be really put in jail. It's just...
But it is really fun to imagine that they were getting murdered or put in jail, isn't it? So if you want to forward the names of your family to this man, the personal details of you and your family, so that he can write them into an artificial intelligence program that's going to scour the internet for their details and then pretend to murder them.
But
Alan's going to start the internet fucking... He's going to start Terminator, and Terminator's going to go for him first.
But I will send you the... I won't do it tonight because it's a practice, but starting next
You won't do it tonight. They've paid tonight. Do it tonight. A signed copy.
If you want a copy sent to you, let me know, or let Kaka know, and we'll email you a copy.
An emailed copy from Kaka. But you can't do it tonight. It involves copying and pasting what is on the fucking... I can't... You just do this. Copy. I'm going to paste it into chat. Obviously, there'll be a limit of characters in chat. Paste. Oh, I can't paste it all into chat. There's a limit of characters. Can't paste it in chat. Limit of characters. There you go. Copy paste. Look, that's all you do, Alan. And you don't even have to paste it to the fucking people who've got in your fucking thing to pay you £10 to do it. Paste it to Kaka and she'll do it.
As long as we've got email address, and there you go. You can have your
See,
copy.
and that means that's good now, because you've given Alan your money, your email address, the details of your family, their surnames, personal details. This is going well for you. You'll get your email in the post later about the story, but don't worry, things are going well for you.
Be better if you get organised and you yourself.
Why do all these scams revolve around taking people's personal details these days? And why does Alan not realise that hammering them all into whatever artificial intelligence program is promising true crime stories might be a mistake?
Okay, next time, one person would decide everything, right? Next time, one person would
That's what he should have done this time.
decide who's murdered, the names, the suspects, the genre, how they're killed. So from now on, it'd be one person's choice. So if you want to do the next one,
It will be exactly the same template story, but with the other people's names in it, and you can decide the names. So you don't have to do that. All you need to do is listen to what he just said then, read out that story there. You've heard that story. Imagine that with your name in it. There you go. Like, you don't have to do anything, pay him any money. You can go on ChatGPT yourself and have it do it for you now. You don't have to, like, all sorts of things. If you're not into computers and you don't want to do that, just imagine your name in a story. Go and get Crime and Punishment, and where it says Rodion Raskolnikov-Romanovich, insert your name in your head. And that's it. This is the worst grift in the world.
tell Kaka now that you want to do the next on True Crime Story, and in the meantime, think of it. Think of the names you want to use, think of a bit of the story, and give me a little synopsis, and I'll make it into a much bigger story. So from now on, each one will be based around one person's little story that are interwoven together. So we need,
right, my story is about a young man who was drunk at the end of the night and was approached by an elderly gentleman in glasses and a and the elderly gentleman wanted to feel him and touch him, and he had a go at feeling him and touching him, and when the young boy found it to be uncomfortable, the old man pushed him in the canal, and then when the young boy tried to get out of the canal, the old man trod on his hands, and the old man was called Alan Vinnicombe.
volunteer.
Can I pay £10 to do it on your? Can I pay £10 to read it out on Patreon?
80 subs. Send your ideas, synopsis, like call it AD on True Crime synopsis.
It's crime fiction.
And then give me the names, and we'll work out the next one, right? So one of you will be the writer, the ghost writer of the next story.
Oh my god.
So if you want to use your real name, you can.
You're all ghostwriters. Artificial intelligence is doing all of the work for you, Alan.
And if not, use your name in here and give us a little story, and I'll elaborate on it, okay? But as usual, AD would be the man that sells it. So you know that Armchair Detectives.
The man that sells it. That's the correct kind of word. Well done, finally. You're just trying to sell money for old rope. Flogging not even a dead horse. It's a terrible analogy, actually. A horrible, poor, sad horse. But, like, you know, what are you selling here is to be the intermediary between you and the AI that's on Google. But they've got Google. Like, in the future, what you should sell, Alan, is like an Encyclopedia Britannica style service. This is what you should do. An Encyclopedia style Britannica service where they can turn up in the stream and ask you any question they like, and you will give them an answer. And then they can just ask you any question. You can just put it in Google, and you can charge £2 a pop every time you Google it. Like, what are you doing? Don't you understand? Everyone else has the internet as well. Like, what he's convinced of is that the people in his chat don't have the internet properly and can't work it. So what he's discovered, they can't find. That's all it is, isn't it? It's like he's got an app that can play music and they don't know what that is, and they're still using cassette tapes. So now he's the king and he can sell you music. Type it in to chat and he'll play you any song. Like, do you realise that this is just using the internet for people as an intermediary and asking them for money in Patreon? You should just do this for free. Like, if people want you to put them in a story on the AI, you should do a stream and you should just do it for free. You shouldn't charge. Like, this is why he's fucked this so totally. Right? If he did a stream where he said, oh, I've discovered AI, and I'll tell you what, he writes a funny detective story. Tonight's stream, we're writing a couple of funny detective stories. First one, Kaka's going to be in it as the murderer, and Nosy Nana's going to be the victim. Ah, it's funny, isn't it? Like, and let's do a couple of these. That could have just been a fun stream. But instead, he's turned it into a fucking weird grift. Not a business. Not like a lot of people like to use the word business about their grift. Yeah? And a lot of time, business and grifting can sort of, you know, the lines can be drawn a bit grey in certain areas in the world, can't they? And that goes to, like, high up as, like, some of the things that Boris Johnson and Richie Sunak get into, I imagine. But, you know what I mean? Like, you know, this is an outrageous grift. Like, you could have just had a fun stream. And instead you had an outrageous grift. Because you're greedy and nasty, seedy and deceptive. Instead of saying, this is AI, it's fun, let's have fun, ha ha, we had a great stream, another great time had by all, come back next week for another great show with the Armchair Detective, you've turned it into a weird paywall and a grift, and your dragnet has managed to catch one idiot. If that's true, I think it might not be. I think it might be a fake person to say it's working. But how does that get you any further forward in life, Alan? As a content creator and a streamer, you are now further behind. But as a grifter, well, not even that far ahead, eh? You'd have been better off working at McDonald's or collecting trolleys. They'd have paid you better, you'd have had more flexible working hours, and you could have had free McDonald's and all the fucking reduced to clear donuts you can eat. So you're making stupid life choices here. You're making yourself look bad. You're making your content, like whatever you had, whatever you thought of yourself, whatever your delusion about this shadow man and what people and all that. Imagine if Netflix came around now and said, we're doing a documentary about the old times on YouTube and how things have changed, and we're reflecting on the Nicole Kessinger and all this stuff, and you know what, things have changed a bit, Alan, and your name came up, and we decided to go and look at your content and decide whether you're going to be interviewed. We're interviewing other YouTubers, people from back in the Chris Watts days and stuff. You know, we're giving a different take on it, and we've looked at your content, Alan, and thought, fuck no, we're only going to introduce this man into the story as a comic relief to show how bad things can get for total nutters. Fuck no, do we want to go near this man. He's reading out artificial intelligent chat GPT template stories to people with quite low intellect on the internet. This man looks like a mess. He'd be better off begging on the street for a £10 scratch card. Or like, you know what I mean? He'd be better off sat outside the One Stop saying, can anyone buy me a can of lager? He would have more success financially than this. And he would look he would have more dignity. He would look marginally better. He would have slightly more dignity.
Solve it. So I need the name of the victim, suspects, where it is, what country, what age the victim is, a little bit about the suspects, and how they died. All right? That's it.
I mean, the temptation, I know it's £10 a pop to do it, but the temptation to, like, and I'm telling you, do not. I talk about things, it's not I'm suggesting to do them, I'm just talking about ideas. Do not do this, never give the man money, don't tip the lol cow, it's going to help him out of it, whatever. Don't give him money, yeah? But the temptation to be in there and suggesting, like, actual true crime plot lines as well. Like, there's so many funny plot lines I could suggest that he would then be forced to type in and read out. Like, this can go so drastically wrong. But I'm not suggesting you give him 10. I'm saying don't do that. If you're thinking of giving him £10, give it to me instead, or give it to a charity is better. Yeah, probably than both of us. No, but I graciously accept the tips, and I'm very grateful for all of them and the gifted memberships. Thank you, everyone that's contributed tonight.
You all, like Kaka says, we continue support of AD, and I hope that you're going to have fun.
Hopefully, we've done a little better than he has tonight. At least we've uncovered a grift. I mean, it's not like the sort of grift that's going to get a lot of people conned, is it? But it's the equivalent of a Nigerian prince scam, this, isn't it? It's like really down at that end of the levels, like really bad. Making up a load of shit on the internet for money.
With this, because it's for fun only.
Professor Plum with the candlestick in Tesco's. Nice one, Toby Moss.
Purpose only. Not real murders.
Not real murders.
You all, like Kaka says, we continue support.
So my idea there would have been bad.
And I hope that you're going to have fun with this, because it's for
I should have used one of these.
Fun only.
Fun only.
Entertainment purpose only.
Like these images of him here, he looks so photoshopped because the filters are doing such hard work. But maybe I should have used one of these pictures as the thumbnail. But I thought that picture that we used in the thumbnail was so apt of him dressed up like the old Victorian chuffer.
Not real murders. There's too many real murders at the moment. Anyway, in England, there's too many stabbings.
Alan, there's not been an increase in the frequency of murders in the UK.
Too many organised stabbings. I don't like it. It's like
there's too many organised stabbings now, so Alan's going to have to divert away from true crime. What the fuck is he talking about?
Something's going on in this world, globalist-wise. I'm not sure what it is, but there's too many of these mass stabbings to be a coincidence, man. You know I don't believe in coincidences. This is like to frighten the country and frighten the West.
Where did this come from now?
It's frightening. So we're all going to get frightened. So this is the...
You're frightened. You have been for years, and you've been perpetuating all that bollocks. You're at the thin end of that wedge, Alan. You're not the guy with the ideas. You're the guy who's had the ideas pushed into his head via his backside. Like...
Release from that, okay? Release from what's going on, what they're doing to us with monkeys.
You just said you weren't going to be doing true crime again, and you weren't going to be doing this.
I don't believe in coincidences. This is like to frighten the country and frighten the West. It's just frightening. So we're all going to get frightened. So this is to have a release from that, okay? Release from what's going on, what they're doing to us with monkey thing. Monkey pox will be the next thing, right?
I'm glad that you brought that up right at the end, because I was feeling lovely and relaxed and chilled out and having a release from that. But by bringing it up right at the end, now I'm really worried about that fucking itchy thing on my... Is that... Am I getting... What the... Don't talk to me about eggs. Don't talk to me about every time you look at an egg you think of Super Chuffer, and then you think of Angry Eddie and Eggy Eddie, and you think Eggy Eddie, Eggy, egg sandwich. Don't talk to me about itching from the monkeypox. Why have you done that to us, Alan? You're creepy.
So that's how it works, and I want you to be involved in it. So adsubs007@gmail.com. Send me your synopsis.
Send me a synopsis.
For your
and £10.
True crime story.
And £10.
Starring Armchair Detective and whoever you want to be in it. Okay?
Nicole Kessinger.
Do you all understand? Any questions? Any questions? Any questions about that?
Why? How? When did you come up with this? Why did you think it was a good idea? Did you cross-reference it with any other ideas that you've had? Have you checked out any other businesses that operate like this? Did you talk to anybody else about it? Have you considered offering shares in the Dragon's Den as part of a package? Duncan Bannatyne might want 50% of the business.
Cat Mackenzie, I like that. Mackenzie, that's a great name. You had some fun with the names, can't you? But
and only with the names, because that's the only part of the story that's really going to change.
the person will get the script sent to them by me.
By Kaka.
And of course, I'm also sending Hosty Girl her script later on tonight as well.
So you're going to get her personal details, her email, and then you're going to start contacting her behind the scenes? That's fine. Who is this Hoisey girl that he's got? Like, this is what I mean about TikTok. He shouldn't be on TikTok doing this.
Get it drafted.
One is one too many.
And welcome to the channel.
I don't think she really exists.
So there we go. You okay with that then? Everybody clear what's going to happen?
Yeah, you've driven your content right into the toilet and you're about to flush it.
Get yourself a story. Be fun. Thanks for watching Armchair Detective. I'm knackered. I've done like 2 TikToks today. Come up with all this and anyway. But Chelsea 162. That's the main thing.
But to be truthful, he probably is quite worn out from doing 2 TikToks, grifting, conning, trying to blag, getting people in, eventually doing this. It probably is a lot more work than the return that he's getting. So why is he doing it? Like, I could understand if he was doing, like, when he was blagging on YouTube and grifting and, you know, lying on YouTube, he was getting quite a lot of money back in the day. But this, there's no return. It's bizarre.
Thank you, everyone. And we'll see you with the next story, right? Keep an eye open in your Patreon for notifications of the next live. Please turn up in numbers.
Please turn up. Please turn up. Please turn up. Bear in mind, right, like these videos that I make about him on Sentries, you know, the videos, the music videos and the songs, they're artificial intelligence too. Like, we have a load of fun with artificial intelligence and it's just all free, and we just do it on the streams and it's fun and it's free. And like, that's why it's fun, because it's just throwaway and free. But the way Alan treats it, I mean, I do have to pay for a couple of those apps, but the way Alan treats it is like imagine I've done these songs and I'm like, right, we're going to do a stream and it's going to be behind a paywall and I'm going to put your name in a song, but you have to pay me for it, and I'm actually going to go around telling people I'm a musician, not a magician, a musician, and you're going to have to pay me for it, and it's all going to go well, and everything's going to be fine. We don't live in the same world, do we, me and Alan? Like, we do not live in the same world. And that's the internet, isn't it? That's the internet for you, the mean streets of the internet, the mean streets of YouTube. I'm going to finish this off on a song. Thank you all very much for being here. Like Alan says, please, please come back to the next one. But I'm really grateful. I'm really grateful. Thank you for all the super chats, all the gifted memberships. I'm going to follow this up now, actually, with a drop. So what time is it? Actually, it's 11 o'clock. No, what I'll do is we've got a Peter Folding episode. I'll do it as members, and then I'll drop it tomorrow for everyone else. It's a card read for Peter Folding. That's probably the way to do it, because I do kind of want to go on Twitch as well and do some gaming. So, like, if anyone wants to join me over there afterwards, then, like, I'll see you there, and the members can watch that video if they want to. It's kind of cuts, maybe I shouldn't, because it kind of cuts down on the push for the when we do it live, but we'll probably drop it as a premiere tomorrow, maybe in the daytime. Peter Folding, tarot cards. I'm getting the tarot. It was tarot cards we did of Peter Folding for Kelly. I'm getting a new high-vis jacket. I'm getting 50 grand's debt for the sonar. I'm getting pushed out of a boat. We did a card read. It was quite fun, and then it turned a little bit serious. So I'm going to put that out, but I've got to make a thumbnail for it. And you know, tonight it's 11 o'clock now, isn't it? So like, it's a 2-hour video. So maybe doing it as a premiere now is the wrong time. But tomorrow I'll release it in the daytime, and the rest of, like, for the members, it's another great thing for membership, isn't it? Well, hey, like, why don't you join me in Patreon afterwards, where you get but like, it's just a little treat for the patrons, because I've been talking about it. I don't know what to do, when to drop it. I haven't made a thumbnail. I'll just make it members video now, and then tomorrow you'll get to see it. But I'll finish this on a song, a lovely song, a wonderful song. This song is about the two worlds that we live in, you know. I live in the real fucking world. Well, I'm sat behind my loads of monitors, but Alan lives in the fucking Tramadol La La Land, doesn't he? And thank you all very much for joining us in Tramadol La La Land. This is the internet. It's a wild, wild place, I guess. It's still the Wild West. I don't know. It's a lot of fun. You make it what it is. Thank you very much for being here. I've been Scott. You've been naughty if you can't be good. And you have been good, so you're not naughty. You be good, and if you can't be good, you're naughty.
Format, which will be...
I am young kid detective. I am Alan. Tramadol, dehumanized cretin. Money, triage, hotel inspector, amputation, bed wet and change the case. What have you fed him on? Childbirth, study group sex, magged out blood pressures. Anyone seeing my paintings on a hot price strippers? Jump the queue to see the greatest gridlock man. Right that down my cans, Canada dogs. I ain't taking notes. I better move out, Tramadol Womble. And the voice, is there anyone there? I got no money, ticky-tocky, Catalina. Whispering come to patron, where I can tell you more and K needs listening. I'm just an old man who's done nothing wrong. Never. My daughter used to streets to the point of being arrested. Spill, poker, rumble, gin, Tramadol. I sing with kids, the trolls, the nips, scam, fucker, Tramadol. They are coming to burn my house now. There's no child. So I'm on the internet like Jet Train by Colin Sutton. All the chicken I can eat, where's Nasty? Am I? MP the streets of YouTube. I get my clothes from IKEA Tramadol. Torchy, the battery boy. The blonde one, the dark one. And the butch one, the shadows. They call me Alan Superstar. Billionaire's Magnum sold my car, Tramadol. Master Dazadox, 100,000 supporters, Tramadol. I am Anne Alan, I am the armchair detective. They ruined my book, Jack's out the sex master, cartoon lady. Now look, a conman and a crook, Alan Superstar. Moves house 3 times, the ticker, don't eat the gin, the wine, the beer, the sip, the Tramadol. Alan has it all, gridlock man. Up way the tower, Alan sits with 2 men. All the chicken I can feed my daughter. Asthma stream from stowaway. Doody-doody-doo, I think I might be gay. Tramadol, I can't even enjoy my hobby. Gambling with Nancy's money. I got no money, I checked me once, then childbirth. I got the epidural. Let me question passenger. My big armchair, court case hanging over me. Tramadol. 80 had to sell the car. Alan Vinnicombe, all in bin. 80 else tax. 80. Steve. I am Alan, young kid detective. I am Alan. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Tramadol, dehumanized cretin. Money tree eyes, hotel inspector, amputation, bed wet and change the case. What have you fed him on? Childbirth.